Today is Friday, July 11th, 2025. The time is 9:31 Central Standard Time. Central Time, we're on the record.
Mr. Zanoni, can you please go ahead and raise your right hand?
Yes, sir.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
You may proceed.
State your name, please.
Peter Zanoni?
And Mr. Zanoni, you know my name is Doug Allison, and I know you know Mr. G. David, correct?
Correct.
And we are here today, obviously, with your council, the city's council, and do you understand we are here to take your deposition?
I understand that.
Have you been deposed before?
I have not.
Okay, I definitely want to run over at least some of the very general ground rules. You're already doing something very naturally that's a very good habit in deposition, which is you're waiting for the question to finish before you speak.
Okay.
Will you continue to try to do that?
I will, yes.
A lot of time in conversation, people end up talking on top of each other. It just makes the court reporter's job nearly impossible.
Understood.
Okay. And the other thing to do, and again, you're doing a very nice job of this just naturally, is give a verbal response. If you shake your head or nod, everybody's going to look around the room like, how do we count that answer?
Okay.
Okay.
Understood.
Do you understand, of course, that you've been given an oath today?
Yes.
And you understand that you're here to give testimony, and that testimony can be used in court proceedings?
I do.
Okay. You understand there's a written record being done and a video record being done?
Yes.
At any time, if you wish to take a break, we talked a little bit before the deposition. I want to make sure you understand at any time you want to take a break, just ask and we'll do that.
Okay.
What did you do to prepare for your deposition?
I've tried to reflect back at the events that took place over a year ago, and I met with my legal team just to prepare for, like you said, what is a deposition and how do you proceed through it.
Anything else?
We went through I don't know exactly what you call it, the document that summarizes the case, I guess. I went through that.
Do you remember what those documents were? How would you describe them, or what were their titles?
They told me yesterday, but it's basically a summary, maybe a brief of the reason to.
I think your lawyer's going to let us know
Okay.
what you looked at specifically. Maybe. Go ahead.
It was the petition, Doug.
Okay.
Okay, good. The petition.
Okay. That's just one document. Did you also look at other documents?
Just that petition.
Okay.
Yeah.
For example, did you look at the agenda memo that was issued in order to prepare for the agenda item, the first reading?
I did not.
Okay. Or the second?
No.
Did you review any videos?
No video.
Okay.
Yeah. Excuse me, one video.
And what
Yeah.
was that of?
That was of probably the second reading of the council, the second council meeting, or the second reading,
Okay. Any other videos?
no other videos.
And what did you observe in the reading? What did you observe in the video of the second reading?
Right, it was just a short clip of me saying, responding to the issue of studying or investigating this issue,
What were you saying in the clip?
I think I was saying that there is a lot of doubt in this document, this federal document, that it looked like it was tampered with. However, I didn't know what had happened. The persons that I asked through my investigation did not have an answer as to how the document became altered.
So the video that you looked at yesterday in preparation for your deposition, your recollection is you were viewing that and it was reminding you or showing that you had talked about the document and that it looked like it had been tampered.
Correct.
And that the document that had been tampered with, I think you and I probably both know, was a screenshot off of the FEMA website.
Correct.
Okay. And did you look at any other videos?
No other videos.
Okay. You understand that we are here today to talk about a Type B award of $2 million to Elevate for the Homewood Suites project, right?
Yes.
And you understand that Type B award cannot be made unless and until it becomes an ordinance through the city processes.
Right. Correct.
Okay.
I understand.
And before we get to those details, I do want to get some background on you.
Sure.
Where did you go to school? College?
College. I went to Jacksonville University in Jacksonville, Florida for my undergraduate studies, and then Florida State in Tallahassee, Florida for my master's degree.
And what is your master's in?
It's in public administration.
Is there a legal component to that master's degree in public administration?
I think I took one international law class, but there's no legal subset to the degree I got.
Is there any study within that discipline where you got your master's for public administration, any study with regard to sort of forensic accounting?
To what kind of accounting?
Forensic accounting?
Forensic? I don't know about forensic, but accounting, let me try to think, because that's a long time ago. I don't recall. Yeah,
That's okay.
I really don't.
And after you got your master's, go ahead and give us just the thumbnail sketch of your work history.
Okay. I spent 2 years in Tallahassee working for the county of Leon County, and then moved to San Antonio, Texas, where I spent 22 years working for that city government. And the past over 6 years I've been here in Corpus Christi, serving as a city manager for the city.
Okay. And take me through your work history through those 20 years in San Antonio. I imagine you didn't come in at the top of the rung, so to speak, and you worked your way up.
That's correct, Doug. Yeah, it's 22 years. I started as a frontline or entry-level position in the city's budget office, and spent over a decade in that budget office, becoming the director eventually, and then moving to assistant city manager, and then second in command position, deputy city manager, and then came here as the city manager.
Were you ever city manager in San Antonio?
No. Yeah, deputy city manager was the highest rank.
And it was as deputy city manager that you then got recruited here to Corpus and came to work here for Corpus?
Yes.
And always have been the city manager here in Corpus Christi?
Yes.
Yeah. And what do you describe as your job duties as city manager here in Corpus Christi?
I am the CEO of the city, is a high-level summary. Chief Executive Officer, the Chief Finance Officer as well. I think the charter defines that title or role. So Chief Executive, Chief Finance Officer. In our form of government, which is a council manager form of government, my responsibility is to carry out city council policies. The form of government we have, it's my job to oversee, not directly, but indirectly, in some cases directly, the 4,000 employees that we have. And my job includes leading the organization, carrying out the council's directives, developing a budget annually and presenting that to city council, engaging the business community and engaging the community itself on what we do and on policy matters that impact the community.
Okay. I've heard it described, though, because of the charter, as a weak mayor system. Do you know that phrase?
I do.
And what do we have a weak mayor system?
I would say we do,
And
based on the charter.
And what does it mean that Corpus Christi has a weak mayor system?
There's probably several answers, but one is easier one. A quick one or a simple one is there's a strong city manager system. Then, when you look at the city charter as an example, which I've done many times over the past 6 years, there's a distinct section for the city manager, yet there is not for the mayor. And I think aside from the charter, in my 6 years here, the community, not just the city council, but the community has identified with that the council, that the mayor of the city council is not a strong mayor. So that comes from the culture of the community. That comes from written documents to include the charter.
Yeah.
And it comes from juxtaposition to other cities like San Antonio, where I came from. Their charter, I think, had a little more definition on the mayor's role. And in the community and amongst the council, it was understood that the mayor was a strong mayor.
So essentially, whether you call it a weak mayor system or a strong city manager system, you're saying the same thing.
I think so.
Okay.
It's a good way of saying it.
And that's a function of how the city charter is written in large part.
Correct.
And so what you're telling me is we have a strong city manager system here in Corpus Christi because the charter is written in a way that gives a lot of powers to the city manager.
I don't know about powers, but yes, it gives a lot of authority, I think, yeah, to the city manager to execute.
I'm fine with the word authority.
Okay. Yeah, to execute the business of the city.
And the way that the city, or at least one way that the city can act is by the passing of an ordinance, correct?
The one way the city council can act, I would say that would be correct. I can't pass, I don't vote on ordinances.
Right.
Yeah.
So in order to execute the business of the city, and I'm quoting your last answer.
Yes, sir.
In order to execute the business of the city, you have the power to put things on the agenda, for example,
That's correct.
and then to make a recommendation for that to be passed or accepted by the city council.
Correct.
And then the city council can vote yes or no on that.
Or abstain, correct.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
But you're the one that has the actual authority, and I think this is part of where the power comes from in terms of city manager and staff is you and staff will work up a proposed ordinance, since we're using that as an example. You get the documents that are supporting it, and then you typically make and I know it becomes a distinction later, but you typically will, if you're doing the work, you're typically going to make a recommendation supporting whatever it is you're putting in front of the council.
I would bring it a step further that in the past 6 years, if you look at every ordinance or resolution or motion, the city staff through the city manager has a recommendation. It's a requirement that I learned from San Antonio. In San Antonio, they didn't always do it that way. But the last city manager I worked with there, who was very good city manager, made it a business practice that we needed to have a recommendation for every item that was brought to city council. We did that, I think, with the exception of only one time, and that's for this $2 million incentive to Project Elevate.
Yeah. And you noticed in my question a minute ago, you and I both knew that nuance is going to come up here in a little bit.
Right.
Because the $2 million award through an ordinance that we're here to talk about, it came at the second reading. The written record says that the staff basically is not making a recommendation, right?
I believe that's correct. I don't have the document in front of me, but there was no, I think the recommendation was that city council should consider this item. That was the recommendation, but we didn't recommend an award of 0 or up to 2. We didn't make any recommendation on the award.
Right, you did. In other words, usually you would come out and
I
say,
need to go off the record real quick.
okay,
We're off the record at 9:45. We're on the record at 9:46.
typically when staff is working up a proposed ordinance, it'll come with the words along the lines of city recommends this be approved.
Correct. So city staff recommends the following.
And on the ordinance we're going to talk about today, it didn't have that magic language, correct?
I wouldn't call it magic language, but it did not have that. Did not have that by my direction.
And by it did not have it, we mean that the agenda item or the memo, where does it usually appear on the memo?
The memo or PowerPoint.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually on
Not
the,
or, excuse me, and I guess and a PowerPoint sometimes, yeah.
Okay. Usually that language is either on a memorandum that's published in reference to the upcoming agenda.
Correct. Correct.
And usually that language would be there saying staff recommends, but on this one proposed ordinance we're here to talk about today, it did not have that language.
That is correct. It did not have it.
Okay. And is this the only ordinance that has gone in front of the city that has ever lacked that language that says staff recommends?
Objection form.
What's that?
Objection.
Yeah, I can answer.
Whenever he says, you can always answer, and if he doesn't want you to answer, he'll say, wait. He'll let you
I'd like to
know.
answer it, which is that, to my knowledge, about in the 6 years, if you count how many ordinances and resolutions and motions, has been a lot. I don't even want to guess at a number. But I would think it's fair to say that this one is probably about the only one that did not have a recommendation.
Okay.
There may be others, but to my knowledge, this is to my recollection, I'm not looking back at years of ordinances, but just intuitively, I would think this is the only one.
Okay. A moment ago, I mentioned that you had the ability, the power, or the authority under the city charter to put things on the agenda. That's correct?
That's correct.
I believe under the charter, the mayor also has the ability to put things on the charter?
I don't believe it's in the charter, but I believe it's in council policy guidelines that they adopt as a body. I don't believe it's in the charter. I think the charter says the city manager and the city secretary set the agenda.
And then the other way, I think something can get on the agenda, there's something about a three council rule or something, is that right?
Right, yeah, so that's another, so where the mayor's authority, I think it's in the same policy document that city council, not the public, approves. But so city council has a policy that says the most current one is 3 council members with if 3 council members sign a memo with a petition to put something on a council agenda, then it can go on the agenda. And then finally, there's also 2 council members can petition to reconsider an item. So if there was an item on a prior council meeting, they want to bring it back for reconsideration, just 2 council members, and it would be placed back on the agenda.
Okay. And are those, have we just discussed all the ways that things can get on the agenda to your recollection?
Yes, we have.
Does the city have any specific policy with regard to awards of Type B money or any type of public money when there has been I'm going to call it at least a serious assertion of some sort of a corrupted process?
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
I'm sure there's some guiding principles, like you should follow the law and not break the law, but I don't think there's, I'm not aware of any guideline document.
I looked,
speaks
I
to
couldn't find one, so I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
And I actually had kind of the same thought I actually wrote in my notes. I'm sure that as a matter of just your education, background, and training, you know that you need to make sure you are complying with laws.
Correct.
You need to make sure that anything in the process, that there's not a nefarious or illegal component to it that is part of the process of giving public money to a project or to a request.
Correct.
Yeah. I want to get a few definitions with you since we're going to be talking about some things that I think are coming up.
Okay.
I'm going to start with a real easy one, and I jumped online and literally found I went to Webster's
Okay.
and found the definition of same, and I'm going to read each one real slowly, just the word same.
SAME, same, you saying?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Resembling in every relevant respect. Second definition is conforming in every respect. Third definition is being one without addition, change, or discontinuance. Then it says identical. Next definition is being the one under discussion or already referred to. And the next definition here is corresponding so closely as to be indistinguishable. If you're like me, sometimes I like to read things rather than just hear them. So
Okay.
I'm going to show you what I just read. Do you see that?
Okay, I do, yes. Yeah, resembling in every irrelevant aspect. Yeah, I'm skipping down to the next one, being one without addition and corresponding so closely as to be indistinguishable.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. Do you agree with those definitions?
I do.
Do you have any different anything in those definitions that you think's missing that we need to add a different definition of same?
I would just add it would be exactly alike, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, exactly alike.
Okay. The other thing that I wanted to kind of give you a chance to look at ahead of time, and it was referred to in the deposition of Mrs. Holbert.
Heather?
Heather?
Okay. Heather
And
Holbert, yep.
Did you have an opportunity to review that deposition or get an update on it? I kind of hope you did.
She actually not too much. Heather just said I, was in there for a while and it was fun. So
Okay.
that was it. Yeah.
What I want to do is give you an opportunity to look at the penal code,
Okay.
and that forge means to alter, make, complete, execute, or authenticate any writing so that it purports to be the act of another who did not authorize it. You understand that?
I do.
And forge also means to be a copy of an original, that you presented as a copy of an original when no such original exists. Do you understand that one?
I do.
And that forge also can mean to publish or otherwise utter a writing that is forged within the meaning of what I just said a moment ago. In other words, if you say it, then that is a form of forgery. You utter it or publish it.
Utter it. Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
And then to possess a writing that is forged within the meaning of what I read to you a moment ago, with the intent to, if you just intend to utter it in a manner that is within the meaning of what we said above. Okay?
Okay.
I just want to give you a chance to, again, I have it on the screen and I'll mark this as Exhibit 1. And again, I just want you to have the benefit of not just hearing it, but reading it.
Okay.
You don't have to read it out loud. I just want you
Okay,
to satisfy
sure, yeah.
yourself.
Okay.
And I'm going to scroll down because, like any statute, after it defines forgery, of course, it says forgery is an offense. That's not going to surprise you, right?
Right.
And then, like any offense, if you go steal a candy bar, it's not as big a deal as if you go steal an expensive automobile, right?
I would agree.
Okay, so the portion I scrolled down to is the portion that it is a felony of the first degree if the value of the property or service is $300,000 or more. Do you see that?
I do see that. Yeah.
Okay. Do you understand that definition?
Well, I'm not sure of what a felony of the first degree is, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I understand the definition.
They classify them, and
Okay.
so you understand a felony is very bad, I'm sure.
Yes.
Okay. And a first degree, I'll tell you, that's worse than a third degree, okay?
Okay.
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 And it has to do with range of punishments. In other words, the higher the offense, I think the more punishment can be given. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah. Then Exhibit 2, I'm going to show you the definition of criminal responsibility for conduct of another. It's Section 7.02. And it says that a person is criminally responsible for an offense committed by the conduct of another if, with that intent, he causes or aids an innocent or non-responsible person to engage in conduct prohibited by the definition of the offense, in this case, forgery. You follow me?
Understood. Yes, I do
Okay.
follow you.
And I'll show that to you, that's Exhibit 2. I just want to make sure you understand that statute.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
Someone need a charger? Did someone need a laptop?
thank you. This is where I say edit tape. Now I remember to do that. We mentioned earlier that we're here to talk about a specific ordinance, and that was one where the city council was considering, there was a first reading and a second reading about a $2 million and some issues we're going to discuss about that. You know that, right?
I do know that, yes.
Okay. And I believe, though, that process actually starts at the CCR EDC,
That is correct.
and you and I both know that's the Corpus Christi Regional Economic Development Corporation, right?
Correct.
And a CCR EDC project, I think you are probably aware, but I'm asking really,
Okay.
requires an infrastructure component to receive a recommendation.
And infrastructure, like the funding is for infrastructure?
Yes. There's got to be some tie into infrastructure.
I don't know if that's always the case, but I'm trying to think over the years what they've awarded.
Let me ask it this way.
Yeah.
Would Mike Culbertson be somebody who would have more knowledge about the answer to the question I just asked you?
He would.
Yeah. And he's testified, and what he testified to with regard to the need for an infrastructure component, would you sort of defer to him on it in this instance?
Either him or Heather Holbert
Okay.
or our legal team.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not per se your area of expertise.
It's in all areas of the city. I have experts that help me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Mike's your expert?
No.
He isn't? Okay.
No, he's one of the experts that would help, but not. He's not a city staff member. He's not he doesn't report to me.
He's an expert, but he's not your expert because he's not a direct city employee.
Yes, I think that's a good way of saying it.
Okay.
Yeah. But certainly, I mean, to your point, he all applications for money from the type A or B through a contract that we have with the EDC, all applications go to that entity first, who is paid by us to vet them, to analyze them, and make a recommendation to the type B board, type A, B board.
Yeah. And do you know, because of course we know in type B board, the discussion, that's where it kind of, I guess, switched, for lack of a better term, sort of to $2 million?
It did, yes. I was at the meetings.
I knew you were.
Yes.
And you know that based upon the CCR EDC process, they could not recommend $2 million.
Correct.
Okay. And so in that sense, another sort of anomaly, this ordinance, and by that I mean you've told me probably based on your memory, it's the only time that the city staff has not recommended when it was in front of city council. And again, we see another anomaly in its origin in that it was not a recommendation for $2 million from the CCR EDC. Agreed?
Agreed. Although the latter statement, another project just recently has gone through where the computer model of the modeling from the EDC was less than the ultimate recommendation by the type B board.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know how the first one is that one of the only memos that didn't have a recommendation. That's more affirmative. The second question, the change from the EDC to the board, that's probably less.
Every now and then I'm
Anomaly.
going to do this weird thing just like he did when he says objection whatever, and
Okay.
you keep talking and it's fine.
Okay.
I'm going to say object non-responsive and don't worry about it at all.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay. And a moment ago you mentioned that you were at the type board meeting, right?
Which one?
The one for the ordinance that we're here to talk about.
Yes, I was at that one.
Yes. And I have in front of me, I'm going to mark it as Exhibit 3, the slides that were used at the Type B board presentation.
Okay.
It's my highlighting.
Okay,
I don't want to confuse you.
okay, yeah.
I think it's 7 slides.
That's what I see. I can't, are you asking, is that the one that was shown, or?
This came directly from Type B.
Okay.
I'm not asking you to authenticate it.
Okay.
You were there, but you probably don't remember if they showed you 5 or 7 slides.
Correct.
Okay.
But I've seen those slides before.
Does that look like at least it looks like the project that is being talked about here today?
Yes, those slides look like they could have been shown at that meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know that you were at the meeting, and it is at that meeting that the presenters, by the way, the applicants were Elevate, which is, at least the representatives at the meeting were Philip Ramirez and Devin Bacta, right?
Correct.
And the applicant was there, having gone through the CCR EDC process, now in front of the Type B board, and made the presentation with the slides that we are looking at right now, or some like it.
Yeah, and I'm not for certain if it was the applicant or Mike Coupleson, but
If
I
the video
believe the-
shows Philip Ramirez doing all the talking, that's not going to surprise you, right?
Right.
Okay.
I believe Philip spoke at
recorded.
it.
It's
Yeah.
recorded,
okay,
right?
Okay, good. Yeah, it is recorded. Yes.
Yeah. And one of the slides, I believe it's the second slide, and let's go ahead and just so for some context,
Okay.
I'm going to show it on the camera real quick.
Sure, no problem.
That's the first slide.
Very good, thank you.
And then the second slide's the one we're going to be talking mostly about. And that's
Got
the
it.
second slide.
Is it all right if Peter gets up where he can see?
I'm
I
going to
can
show
see it,
I'm going to show him
yeah.
right now again.
Okay.
Well, I want to make sure that what's on there is what he's seeing.
Yeah.
Okay.
That second slide is the slide that has what I think we all know now was a tampered or altered document, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
I don't know if that's the exact one, but that, yes.
And I'll
Yeah.
represent to you, it came from the Type B
Okay, then
slide.
if that came exactly from the Type B, then that is the one.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're not positive, don't.
Okay.
And the portion I highlighted is that in the presentation, and it's on the slide, it says on the slide specifically, project was reimagined in July 2022 as a 126-room hotel project. Did I read that correctly?
That's what it says there. You read it correctly.
Okay. And so at least we know that the sort of the beginning time, the moment in time that they imagined doing a hotel project, the applicant was apparently, at least according to them, July of 2022, right?
Correct.
I know you said that you looked at the plaintiff's petition that we had on file before the deposition. You looked at that ahead of time to prepare?
I perused through it. I didn't get a chance to read the whole thing, but I did kind of
That's
skim
fine.
through it. Yes, sir.
The reason I ask is because it's quoted in that petition. Several things are quoted in that petition that were said by the applicant during the presentation. Did you look at that portion of it?
I did not.
I'm going to just read you some of the quotes, and I'm not going to ask if you remember, did they say it that exact way, but I'm just going to ask if you remember hearing the gist of what I'm quoting, okay?
Okay. This is at the Type B board meeting,
Yes.
right? Okay.
That at the Type B board meeting, the applicant or Mr. Ramirez at the Type B board meeting, Mr. Ramirez said things like, one thing that came up that we weren't anticipating, the FEMA maps were preliminary, but they became finalized. Things like it kind of hit us midstream. It threw us for a little bit of a loop. Quote, it did certainly throw a wrinkle and an aspect to the project from a constructability perspective, but also just added costs that we were not anticipating. So we had to mitigate these new requirements. You remember things along those lines being said?
I do, yes.
Okay. And do you remember the upshot of that? The gist of it was that Philip was representing at the Type B board that the FEMA floodplain rules had recently changed.
Correct.
Okay. I'm going to show you exhibit number 4 to your deposition, and this is a screenshot of the same FEMA website that you looked at a moment ago, but it's not been altered like the one used during the Type B presentation. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do, except the one we saw a moment ago was not the website, but it was a PowerPoint presentation.
Right. It was
Picture
a
of it.
screenshot of a FEMA web page that was put into a PowerPoint.
Right, correct.
And let me show you this one first, and then I'm going to turn it around for the camera.
Okay.
Do you recognize that one as having the dates, which I think you probably know are missing from the one that was shown to the Type B board?
Right, yeah. Is it the release date, April 13, 2022?
It's the release date, and it's also the
And that box too, okay.
reference number,
Yes, sir.
and it's also the second statement of the release date.
The new floodplains have been finalized, become effective on October 13.
Now, but you see these three, this date right here of
Yeah.
April, and this date right here of April, and this release number?
Yes,
Those are three different things you can see on the original document, right?
correct.
And I'm just going to show exhibit to the camera that you were just looking at.
Got it, got it.
And if you compare that to the one that was given to the Type B board, you see that three data points, so to speak, the release date and a second statement of the release date, and then the third item that was altered was removal of the reference number, right?
Correct. Yeah, the box that had those two things and then the other date are gone. They're
Yeah.
not on that document.
So three alterations that we can easily identify.
Correct.
Okay. At the time of the presentation to the Type B board, did you know the alterations had been made?
I did not.
Okay.
It was not brought to our attention by anyone.
And so, to your knowledge, is there any way that the Type B could have known that the alterations had been made?
They could have if somebody told them, like the EDC.
Okay. But do you know if they did or not?
They did not.
Okay.
To my knowledge, they did not.
So, in other words, you believe that the Type B board voted to approve the award of the $2 million, not knowing that there had been this altered federal document?
Correct.
Okay. I'm going to also show you Exhibit 5, which is another FEMA, me capturing a website and making it a slide or an exhibit to your deposition.
Okay.
And it's Exhibit 5, and let me give you a chance to review that.
Okay.
And let me show that to
Yeah.
the camera just real quickly for you too.
Yeah.
Can you tilt it up a little bit? There's a glare from the, there you go, right there, perfect. Got it.
If you look at this exhibit, then you can see, and by the way, let me back up. We
Yeah.
know government doesn't move at a lightning pace, fair enough?
Fair enough. Yes, sir.
Okay. And things like FEMA rule changes typically take years, correct?
I'm not for certain, but I think they would take time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And usually whenever there's federal regulation changes, it's real common in the public sector to publish drafts or preliminary proposed rules or whatever it is that you're changing, and to give an opportunity for comments, right?
Correct.
Okay. And from the exhibit that I just showed you, can you tell that in fact, at least back as far as 2020, years in advance of the December 2023 Type B board meeting, that these new or proposed, revised, whatever you want to call them, FEMA rules had been out there in the public domain for years, correct?
I was unaware of that, but if the evidence shows that, it sounds plausible.
Yeah, I mean, and that would be kind of typical of how government moves.
Correct. At least
Not going to
how we-
surprise you at all.
You're not. We do the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that certainly flies in the face of the suggestion by Mr. Philip Ramirez that these had been unanticipated or, somehow caught them by surprise. Fair?
Fair. It's one of our points we had when we talked with them.
Yeah.
When I talked with them personally.
And we talked about that apparently the Type B board voting at a time when they did not know there was a altered or forged slide, and voting on an amount that had not been recommended by the CCR EDC, they nonetheless gave a vote yes to have the award of $2 million considered by the city council, right?
Correct. Correct.
And that leads then to an agenda memo being created by your staff to have that matter put in front of the city council and on the city council agenda.
Correct.
I'm going to show you what I'm going to mark as Exhibit 6, and this is the first agenda memo. Excuse me, this is the memo for the first reading. Fair enough?
That's fair enough, yes.
And familiarize yourself with it. Again, it's my highlighting, but that also lets you know what I'm going to ask you questions about, so you'll know. Okay?
Okay, yeah. Can I scroll it down or?
2 fingers, up and down. Got it? Is that working for you? Or yeah.
Now it went too far.
Okay, all right.
Like that.
great, Okay. Okay, let's see. Oop. There we go. Let's see, costs associated with FEMA, flood zone requirements, unanimously approved an agreement. Yeah. Yeah. Can you, sorry, I got it.
Sure.
Yeah. Is that it went back to the agenda item? I mean the memo, the agenda document, yeah.
I see what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, you skipped pages. That's okay. A little technical error issue there. We'll get it fixed.
Yeah, was that it?
I'm not sure how you manage it, but I'm not going to blame you. Okay, give me 1 second. I'll pull it back up
I
for
think
you.
if you click on that, that's the agenda items, so click on it and it'll pull the memo up, I think.
Yeah, really,
Okay.
they're separate exhibits. for
Okay,
me.
okay, sorry.
But I have it right here. Let me try again.
Okay.
And I'll
Yeah,
I'll be
okay.
the operator for you.
That's great. Okay, that section I read, so you can keep going, yeah. Let me see, the grant request will be utilized for costs associated with newly defined, maps that added additional costs of that, okay. Type B may choose to fund at a lesser amount. Recommendation, staff recommends approval in an amount not to exceed that. Agreement, FEMA cost estimates, FEMA flood map, PowerPoint, okay.
Does that appear to be the memo for the first reading of the ordinance we're talking about?
It appears to be based on what I read, yeah.
Yeah. And so this agenda memo, I think, would have been prepared, it says from Heather Holbert, okay?
Correct.
And it has the first reading scheduled for February 20th, and the second reading, it says this is going to happen on February 27th, right?
That's what it says, yes.
And it identifies a possible award, type B money, for $2 million. It says, quote, for costs associated with FEMA AE flood zone requirements, right?
Correct.
And then in terms of background, it tells you, quote, on January 22, 2024, the Type B Board Corporation unanimously approved an agreement with Elevate QOF LLC for costs associated to FEMA AE flood zone requirements, right?
Correct, that's what it says.
Further down, it says the grant request will be utilized for additional costs associated with newly defined FEMA AE floodplain flood zone requirements.
Correct.
And then at the bottom, we talked about this just in the general sense, but at the bottom it says, quote, staff recommends approval of the agreement in an amount not to exceed $2 million to be funded by the CCB Corporation fiscal year 2024, right?
Correct.
That's an example of, like we talked about earlier, usually the normal thing, the way they normally go is staff recommends.
That's correct.
Yeah. And again, and then if you look at this list of supporting documents, it includes 4 items, one of which is the PowerPoint presentation, the one we looked at a moment ago that the Type B board had in front of it, right?
Correct.
Okay. And that PowerPoint presentation that is then supporting this first reading had that altered slide in it again.
I haven't seen it, but I believe it did.
I don't think that's in dispute. It's recorded.
Yeah.
You're not here to argue that, right?
No, I'm not here to argue it. I
Okay.
just didn't see it right now, so it's hard to,
Right.
I see it's on the memo, but I don't see the PowerPoint.
Okay.
But yes.
And again, the recommendation though here was at a moment in time from staff, and staff includes you, I imagine.
It does include me.
Yeah. The recommendation was at a point in time when staff had no knowledge, I think, that there had been an altered federal slide.
As I've been thinking this through, right, because it's been over a year and a half ago, I'm trying to recall when one person's told me that this document has been altered. I would suppose that it was between this point and time after this point, the point being the council meeting.
Yeah.
I don't think I was aware when we put this on that.
I want to make sure I understand when you
Yeah.
say, I don't think I was aware, you mean you don't think you were aware there was an altered slide at the time you put on the first reading?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm filling in the pronouns.
Okay, thank you, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
otherwise I probably would not have put it on for the first reading.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And if you don't put it on for first reading, obviously it never passes.
That's true, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you the Exhibit 7, which is the agenda for the first reading. You with me?
The agenda document, yes.
In other words, we just looked at the memo for the agenda item.
Right.
And then, of course, later in time, the item, typical course of things would end up on an agenda, right?
Correct, yes, sir.
And yes, sir.
Section 4. Is this the first reading that
Yes.
you're doing? Okay.
Yeah. And so let me show you what I am having marked as Exhibit 8. And I'm going to go ahead and show you that it's the February 20th, 2024 agenda, right?
Okay, that's what it says.
You can scroll up or down if you like, but I'm going to scroll to the actual agenda item because that's what I'm going to ask you about.
Okay. Yeah, it says an ordinance authorizing an agreement, I'm going to skip around here, but for costs associated with FEMA floodplain requirements and exterior upgrades, appropriating $2 million of non-reimbursable grant from the Type B Economic Development Fund.
Okay.
Correct.
So the ordinance numbers there, 24-0256, right?
I'm not, I see the number, I don't know if that's the ordinance number or just the agenda item number, but there's a number there that, for the reference of that item.
Fair enough.
Yes.
I may be making an assumption there that's not correct. Thank you for clarifying.
Okay, yes, sir.
But the actual agenda item that you just read into the record makes clear it is, I'm going to quote what you just read, for costs associated with FEMA AE flood zone requirements, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now I'm going to show you exhibit number 8, which is labeled Video 1, and they're going to put it on that screen right there for you.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask them to play it for you.
Okay.
Can you make that full screen? Thank
Yes,
you.
sir. Ready?
Yep,
Okay. The audio is going to come from my laptop.
that's okay. It'll play
Item
through
number
your
12 is an ordinance authorizing an agreement between the Corpus Christi B Corporation and Elevate for costs associated with FEMA flood zone requirements and exterior upgrades for Homewood Suites by Hilton at the corner of Chaparral Street.
Again, by the address, it's clear the mayor's talking about the Homewood Suites project.
Correct.
And the part I wanted to confirm is then just this progression from the agenda memo talks about costs associated with FEMA, and then the agenda item talks with costs associated with FEMA, and when the mayor reads it in the public, she says for costs associated with FEMA, right?
Correct.
Okay. And again, at that point in time, when you're in that meeting at the first reading on February 20th of 2024, at that time, is it true to say that you don't think you knew, I think because otherwise you said you would never put it on, that
Right.
you were still in the dark about there having been an altered federal document?
Correct.
Okay. Go to video 2. This is marked as exhibit number 9, and it's from that same meeting.
Okay.
Ready?
Yes.
Councilman Hedrum?
So as a banker, when you invest in a new project or go into a new project with someone, you're not going to check the flood zone first when you're building?
Yeah.
That's the big concern I have. As an insurance agent, that's the first thing we check. You can't even start building the building until it's insured. So when you're building in a flood zone, it has to be already checked. So why are we doing this
Because it changed.
6 months after?
It changed.
It changed. It was, the rules had come out later.
Nobody knew.
And
They changed. They made.
we've been working on the rules for 2 years. You can expect those changes 2 years ago.
They did change them.
Do you hear both the mayor's voice and also Councilman Hunter's voice on there?
I do, yes.
And is it clear that Councilman Hunter, whatever background he has, and he's describing a little bit on his speaking or during his speaking, that he is questioning, hey, how is it that you can say it changed? That should have been the first thing you looked at, basically.
I heard that and I agreed, right?
And you were there at that council meeting.
I was, yes, sir.
And so he's sort of, and I know later in time you said the same thing, I assume you remember that, but at the meeting, Councilman Hunter is clearly saying, hey, how can this be true, basically, because basically FEMA doesn't change like in a drop of a hat, right?
Correct.
Okay. And did you also hear the mayor, I think multiple times, she keeps saying, because it changed, because it changed, because it changed, right?
Correct.
Now, and so she is suggesting, I guess, if I'm hearing it, but I'm asking you, do you hear it that Councilman Hunter is sort of questioning the truthfulness or accuracy of some of the information, right?
Correct.
And the mayor's trying to correct Councilman Hunter and say, no, like, aren't you listening? It changed, right?
Right, I don't know about correct, but speaking alongside him, saying those words, yes, that it changed.
Yeah. He's talking, she kind of bumps in. He talks, she bumps in.
Right.
He talks, she bumps in, right?
Correct.
Okay. Now, before that meeting, had you had any discussions with the mayor or Councilman Hunter about any of the truthfulness of the presentation, or were you still in the position of kind of hearing this from Councilman Hunter for the first time that maybe there's something to question here?
I'm not for certain. Yeah, I'm not for certain.
Okay.
Because we did talk about it, but I'm not for certain if it was before this meeting or at what point in time.
And at some point, I know Ajit, David brought it certainly to your attention, right?
David Ajit?
Yes.
Yes, he did.
Okay.
Yeah.
That meeting, I think we had it at February 20th, and I know then at least by March 7, my client had sent you an email. Let me show that to you, and we'll mark that as Exhibit 10. Let me give you an opportunity to refresh your recollection about that.
Okay, good.
It makes his job hard when you talk so quiet, so you may want to just read to yourself and then we'll talk about it. And would you like to take a break and let him review it?
Yes, I'd like to take a break for me to go to the restroom while he reviews it, if that's all right.
We will take a break.
We're off the record at 10:29. We're on the record at 10:43.
And just for the written record, I want to make sure I said it. Exhibit number 9 is the second video clip we played with the mayor saying it's changed. I just want to make sure so that we have a good, clear record. Mr. Zanoni, during the break, I think I gave you an opportunity to review what I've marked as Exhibit 10, which is an email dated March 7, 2024, from my client to you, right?
Correct.
And overall, it's an email that is relating to the altered slide, correct?
Correct.
And in the email, first he points out that it was a project that's already under construction, and he says fully committed. That's in his email to you, right?
Correct.
And you probably understand the reason that he's doing that, my client's doing that, is because the rule really is that you don't get money for a project because it's incentive money if you're coming already to town, right?
Correct.
Okay. And then the email goes on to explain and really refer to the attached presentation, which is the same slides we've been talking about, right?
Correct.
And it says, quote, they talk about pandemic-related cost escalations, $489,000, I'm rounding, for exterior upgrades and $1.5 million for new FEMA flood zone requirements. Did I read that correctly?
That's what it says, yes, you did.
And he says, take a closer look at the FEMA screenshot in the attached presentation. This is my client to you saying that, right?
Correct.
And then it goes on to say, quote, every FEMA notice clearly has the release date and release number. Strangely, these are missing or hidden from the screenshot in the application, right?
Correct.
So my client is telling you, kind of letting you know, hey, this slide has definitely been altered.
Correct.
Okay. Then he goes on to say it's rather questionable that the developer is using this as an excuse to seek incentives, meaning the money, right?
Correct.
And that the development team on this project includes a local architect, referring to Philip Ramirez, right?
Correct.
Who should in fact be very well versed with flood maps, FEMA requirements, etc., right?
That's what it says, yeah.
And then if you scroll down, what he attached for you, or one of the things he included in this email, was a screenshot of the unaltered federal FEMA information.
Correct.
Which highlighting, he puts a circle around it, the release date, and then the second time it tells you the release date and also the release number.
Correct.
And the reason he's doing that, obviously, I think you probably understood at the time and now, the reason he's doing that is to draw the contrast. He's saying, here's what the real document is, but if you go look at the slide used during the first presentation, the first reading of the ordinance, it's very clear that it's been altered by somebody, right?
Correct.
Okay. And so at least by March 7, and I'm not going to try to test your memory on the first time you heard it or learned of it, but at least by March 7, you had a very clear piece of information that somebody had used a altered, forged federal piece of information, gotten it from online and forged it, and they were using it to ask for $2 million of public money.
Yes, that's what it appeared.
And like you said earlier, that would have essentially never made it onto an agenda item. It would have been disqualified. And so that's important news, even though it's after the first reading.
That's correct.
Okay. And that actually led them to a phone call, and I think you know it's a recorded phone call at this point in time, right?
Yes.
Okay. And I want you to hear that so it's fresh in your mind, and I'm also going to show you the transcription of it.
Okay.
If you're like me again, I like to hear it and see it at the same time. It helps me make sure I catch it all. Okay?
Yeah.
And that transcription is going to be marked as Exhibit 12 and the audio recording as Exhibit 11. Okay?
Okay. What was the date on it, Doug?
It refers to, I just know this from the top of my head, I think it refers to the next meeting, not this Tuesday, but a week from tomorrow, which to me, if that's a second reading, the second reading was on April 24th, 23rd, and so 22nd, a week before that, I'm going to say around the 15th of April.
Of April, okay.
That's my best
good.
understanding.
Okay.
Okay. It's clearly between the first reading and the second reading.
Okay.
Okay.
The requested information I asked from the applicant. I don't have that. They haven't given it to me. And so until then, I'm not giving any recommendation. I'm putting it on the agenda. I was asked to. So you can consider it. You have to come up with your own recommendation.
Got it. But you did you did let the city council know that there were some some improper information, some tampering and all that involved. Also, you let them know.
I let them know. We're going to let them know again tomorrow in executive session. I already have an executive session posted.
Okay, Peter. When does the executive session happen? Does it happen towards the end or?
No, when we break for lunch, most likely. I can't remember how many items are on there, but probably on the first break, the lunch break, so like
is it
2:30? Yeah.
Okay, is it after public comment or before?
Oh, yeah.
Public comment or before?
Oh, yeah. No, it's after public comment.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, yeah, after public comment.
Yeah, I was just a little surprised that council is still willing to consider this after they know what was done. And on that website, on the FEMA website, it even says this is a United States government portal.
Yeah.
On the very top.
Yeah, definitely. Right. It was altered. And then when you read the entire PowerPoint, it's so obvious that the reader or the writer wanted to be led to believe that the FEMA was just recent, even words like recently released and this and that. And part of it goes back to the narrative. Mike Culbertson said, hey, we can't, this has to be tied to infrastructure. And so then they catch the scheme that, okay, FEMA floodplain, that's infrastructure. The fixing the bottom floor so it meets the floodplain, and they stuck with it.
Got it.
And then they develop a narrative to fit it that they just found out, because people would say like, shit, they should have known about this a long time ago.
Yes.
Like Councilman Hunter. So I think, Ajit, I think people right now, the council right now, seem like they're strong and are going to vote, but we've seen it time and again that once one or two or more start talking at the council citizens, they change their mind real quick.
Yeah.
They could ram it through, but it's on them. I know I'm not recommending it because I don't have the information I need.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have the cover. Even if they sent something that said, this is what happened, okay, I'll believe you. I'll put it on. But they haven't even sent me shit, and instead they want my lawyer to send them, but I asked for them over an hour, and I'm not doing that. So, so if council asks me between now and next Tuesday, my answer is this, which is that I can't recommend anything because I'm still waiting on information to develop a recommendation. However, because the council wanted this on the agenda for them to consider, it's on, and you all consider what you want to do. And the applicants are supposed to be in the room. You can ask them.
That's right. And how difficult would this be? If you ask somebody, hey, we're going to give you $2 million, just give an explanation for this. And if they're not in a position to give that to you, the council still wants to give them $2 million. When you ask for $2 million, the least you can do is, hey, just give us some explanation and the money is yours. But even that is not happening.
Right, exactly. As of right now, that's not happening. But the vote will be not tomorrow, but the next Tuesday. This is going to be the vote.
No problem. But anyways, I think, if you think it's okay, at least, in that way, you're clear in your stance. It's going back to council, so no one can blame you for that because you did the right thing. You did not really recommend council to approve it.
Right. I changed the recommendation of that because that's what it had initially. I'm like, I'm not approving this. I'm not recommending to approve this.
Got it.
I'm recommending they can consider it. That means they consider what they want to do. Look at any other agenda memo on the council meeting, and it always says that they should always say staff recommend blank. Yes, no. That's our job. Otherwise, you don't need us. But in this case, and very few exceptions, if we don't agree with the council, I'm not going to fall on my sword for that shit. I asked those guys to give me information, and they didn't give it, so I can't make a recommendation. But because our form of government, there's 3 ways you can get something on the agenda. Sure. In this case, the majority of the council, or at least 3 council members, want it on the agenda. Okay, I'll put it on the agenda. You guys figure it out.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I bet you it's more than likely it's Roland and the mayor and maybe Dan Suckley also will be in support. But that's okay. That's fair.
They told me 7. Somebody told me today there's 7 yeses and only 2 no's.
No problem.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Okay, Peter, I get an idea. Okay. So I'll just stop by tomorrow.
Make sure you do what my position was, because I'm not recommending it, but I'm putting it on for them to consider.
No problem, Peter.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay,
sounds good. Thank you.
Take care, Peter. Steve. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, yes, sir. Okay, bye-bye.
Does that recording sound like a true and correct recording of a conversation you had with my client?
It does.
Yeah. And I know at the beginning and throughout, there's one common theme at least. One of them is you had, by this point in time, around April 15th, you heard the reference.
Yes.
A week from tomorrow.
Right.
However, whatever the exact math is. But we have the March 7 email where by that point in time, clearly my client had told you that this has been forged, and then now we're more mid-April and you're speaking obviously with some knowledge of what is an ongoing investigation, I think.
Correct.
Okay. And just so we have that in the record, I think that Heather Holbert was one of the people who was helping investigate.
Let me think here for a minute. She was, I don't know if she was helping in the quote-unquote investigation. I don't think she was in the room when I had my meeting with the architects, but she was aware.
Okay.
She was aware from my debriefing with her, and she.
Let me ask you this: who were the people that you recall were in charge of the investigation?
It was myself, Sony, my then assistant to the city manager, and Miles.
Okay.
Yeah.
But one of the common themes, back to what I was saying just a moment ago, is you were clearly in this still fact-gathering time frame where you had asked for an explanation about how there was this altered federal document, and you're waiting for the applicant to get you that information.
Correct.
And you're very clearly saying in this recording, because you're not going to give a recommendation unless you get closure on that issue or some reasonable explanation.
Correct.
Yeah. And I think at the very beginning of recording you said, quote, "Until then, I'm not giving my recommendation," meaning exactly what I just said and you agreed to, right?
I agreed to then and now, yes.
Yeah. There's a question by my client who asked, "Hey, have you let City Council know there's been," quote, he says the word tampering, and you said, "I let them know, and we're going to let them know again tomorrow in executive session." Did you do that?
We can't talk about,
Objection.
yeah, we can't just,
You can't, if the exec session is closed, you
Yeah,
can't discuss that.
I'm not sure that when it's in conjunction with the forgery that it applies, but let's not have that fight yet, okay? Let me ask you this. Outside of executive session, did you let some of the council members know?
yeah, and I'm glad you said it that way, because I didn't sit down with all council members, all of them, either individually or collectively, to let them know, but the council members who had interest in this item would often call or come visit me. So when I was engaging with council members individually along this continuum of time, I let them know that brought to my attention has been what appears to be a forgery of a federal document tied to this award of money.
Who did you let know, let's say, in this March, I guess from sometime probably after March 7 and before the second reading, fair enough?
That's fair enough, and I don't know, from memory, I'm going to tell you who I believe I told. I may have told others, but I'm not for sure. But I know I told the mayor. I know I told Councilman Roy, Councilman Pusley, and maybe Councilman Suckley. But for sure, Pusley and the mayor, and one phone call. It was right after I had met with the architect, and then Councilman Roy was meeting with me or talking with me frequently, so him as well.
Okay, who did you tell shortly after you met with the architect?
The mayor and Councilman Pusley, I believe, called me around the 5. I was picking up my son at his job, so it was around the 5 o'clock time frame. I believe it was that same day.
Okay, and you made a reference, and so I'm going to go back to it because it's a little bit, we're taking it out of sequence, my fault. You referred to a meeting that you had with Philip Ramirez, right?
Right.
I think that, and I have this dated by another information with Sony, okay?
Okay.
I think that happened probably on or just before April 8, about a week before this recording. Does that sound about right?
Probably, because I'm referencing it in that recording.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and the way that Sony had described it, and understand we took his deposition yesterday.
Yes, I understand.
Okay. He described it as, one of the words he agreed and recalled saying to my client shortly after the meeting was that Philip was stuttering. Do you remember that?
I remember, yes.
And also just his description, couldn't complete a sentence. Do you agree with that?
I agree with that.
And that after the meeting it was obvious that Philip or his team had altered the document. Do you agree with that?
Let me think here. It was obvious that they had altered the document. I wouldn't agree with that necessarily. It was obvious they wouldn't tell us what happened to the document.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it was not the sort of explanation you were looking for to give the thumbs up to the project and the award of money.
Exactly.
It did not satisfy your concerns.
It did not address the concerns I had.
Yeah. And so it's after that meeting with Philip, then we had the recorded discussion between you and my client that we played the audio of just a moment ago.
Yes.
Okay. And so it sounds like after you had this meeting with Philip is also when you talked to the mayor and told her that it was a forged federal document.
I don't know if I told her that exactly, but I did tell her that the meeting I had with Philip did not produce information we were looking to get from Philip, which was simple, which was that this document was changed. How did it get changed? You're the author of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, do you think you made it clear to the mayor that it was an altered federal document?
I'm not 100% certain, but I would suspect I did. I would have, because that was the at issue. That's the issue of the weeks that went by, those two meetings.
Yeah, and I don't know that you used the word forged or tampered or altered or modified or deleted. I'm not trying to hold you down to a word, but do you think you conveyed clearly to the mayor that the document relied upon in the first event or in the first reading was had been, again, whatever word you want to use, tampered or whatever?
Objection form. What conversation?
Fair enough, I'll do it.
The telephone conversation?
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair, very fair. I appreciate that.
Yeah. After I interviewed Philip, I did that same evening, I believe, have a conversation with the mayor on the phone, and Councilman Pusley was there, either in the room or in a three-way call. I'm not 100% sure. But that was after the meeting with Philip, and so I explained to the mayor that Philip, who would be the only one that could explain what happened to this document, could not explain it. And so there was an obvious change in the document from the website to the PowerPoint. And the only person, well, there were probably two people that could have explained it. One was Mike Culbertson and his team, and then the second one would be Philip Ramirez and his team. And I believe we had a conversation with Mike Culbertson to rule him out and actually ask for a copy of his PowerPoint presentation. And who created it? Did he create it, or did Philip Ramirez create it? And Culbertson said that the PowerPoint was created by Philip Ramirez, sent to Mike Culbertson, who did nothing to change it, and just placed it into a template that had EDC heading on it. That's why we ruled out Culbertson as somebody that may be aware of or may have changed the document, and then started working with Philip Ramirez as the sole person that would know, should know, what happened to the document.
And what you just told me is what you told the mayor?
Correct.
In the phone call soon after the meeting with Philip?
Correct.
And it's the same information you also told to Councilman Pusley?
Correct, on that phone call that he was on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you also let them know, Pusley and the mayor at the same time frame, same phone call, that you were not satisfied with the explanation?
I did.
Okay. So at that point in time, then you are still communicating to both of them that this is something you cannot recommend?
That, yes, and that they should be concerned about it.
Yeah. And did you speak to the mayor about it on any other occasion?
I'm not for certain, but I probably did.
Did you?
Objection form. Ask and answer.
Okay.
No.
Did you?
He told you he talked to him that it would be brought up in city council. That's the reason for my objection.
Okay. I'm not trying to be that tricky. Okay.
I have to assume you are.
Other than a public meeting, did you talk to Councilman Pusley about it again?
Private.
In a private meeting?
Other than private. You said public.
Let me rephrase. I know what they want.
Yeah.
Other than at a public meeting, and I'm not asking you about executive session, did you have a second conversation or another conversation with Councilman Pusley?
I'm not for certain. I would suspect I may have, just because, you know, it's a...
But sitting here right now, you have a pretty thorough recollection of the one conversation right after you met with Philip Ramirez of making sure that you told the Councilman Pusley and the mayor exactly what you just told us.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. In part maybe because of the setting, you know, I was taking care of family business at the time, wasn't at City Hall, I was on the phone in my truck at the country club.
Now, you also said, though, I think that you at some point in time had conversations with Everett Roy about this issue, not in executive session?
Correct.
And when do you think that was in reference to maybe this meeting with Philip?
Yeah, I think it was before that telephone call, and I'm not for certain if it was before the first reading or between the first and second reading. But I know he came in to speak with me, I think after speaking probably with either Raju or Ajit.
Okay.
After he spoke to Raju and Ajit, and he came in to talk to me about the issue.
Councilman Roy had talked to my client, and so that all caused him maybe to come see you.
Correct.
And at this time frame, and I know you've kind of given us broad parameters for what that was, what do you believe you told Councilman Roy?
I didn't, he came in to talk to me, so I didn't really precipitate conversation with the council on this item. So true to that, Roy came in to talk to me, probably something along the lines of, I just spoke with Raju and Ajit, who have concerns about this award. I think he was concerned about some document tampering and was concerned about having to vote on something like that, knowing it would be, an issue. And so, expressed some concern about placing it on a future council agenda item, a future city council agenda.
Do you think, and I'm not talking about executive session, do you think you had other conversations with Roy, not in a public meeting and not in executive session?
I think they were pretty limited from that point. Yeah.
And then I think you mentioned Suckley, do you think you also talked to him, not in a council meeting and not in executive session?
I think I talked to Suckley, but it wasn't in a formal, Councilman Roy meeting. It may have even been at a council meeting, but not a meeting that had this item on it. Just that's where he was and that's where I was, and we talked about it.
Do you believe you conveyed to Suckley that the document had been forged, tampered, altered, whatever word you want to use?
Probably so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that do you think you also conveyed to Roy and Suckley that even though you had met with Philip Ramirez, who you had sort of pared it down to, the altered document came from that team, that group, that even though you met with Philip Ramirez, that he had not been able to satisfactorily explain it to you?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think that you communicated in advance of the second reading to Roy and Pusley and the mayor that you were not going to recommend it?
I don't think I did that. I don't think I did that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that kind of came because, as you can hear in the recording, the staff was putting a recommendation on it, and it probably wasn't until it could have been even that Friday when we finally posted it that I changed that. I don't know when the date was, but it was the intent of the staff team was to make a recommendation, and I changed it. So I don't think there was not a lot of communication outside of the council meetings and the executive session on the item amongst me and council members. Not a lot of conversation. There was conversation with individual council members, the ones I referenced, but...
And it sounds like, and you used this, I think, term earlier, a certain council member had shown an interest in supporting it, and those are the ones who were calling and you were talking with.
There were council members supporting it.
Right. I think you said the word you used, maybe the ones that were interested in it, in the agenda item.
Yeah, and advancing it and approving it?
Yes.
I think you would be correct. So like the mayor was interested in approving it. Councilman Pusley was interested in moving it forward.
Yeah.
And maybe others, but those two come to mind.
Did you ever talk to Roland Barrera about it?
I did, and yeah, I did. But not so much on the tampering of the document, I think, more just his philosophical concern or guidance on how I should handle the matter.
And what was Councilman Barrera's advice on that?
His advice was the Type B board recommended $2 million, and that should have been why we're recommending it, because the Type B recommended it. So everything else is somewhat immaterial. Because the governing body of the Type B makes a recommendation, that should have just been the statement to the council, not things about FEMA floodplain and elevation and building things. And it's just they recommended it, so, let advance their recommendation without interjecting or without, opining on why staff would recommend it or not.
I'm going to jump ahead a little bit just because I think it'll help you in what we're talking about here in terms of time frame, and show you what I am going to mark it as Exhibit 20, and it is the second agenda memo. In other words, the one that comes out in advance of the second reading. Are you with me?
Yes.
And it has a date on it of March 11, 2024, and down at the bottom it says recommendation, staff recommends City Council consider this agreement on second reading, and so forth.
Okay.
Did you hear me?
Yes, I did.
And you know there's a big distinction here, right? In other words, this document, which is Exhibit 20, you've gone from staff recommends to staff is saying consider it.
Right, for the City Council to consider it.
Right. You've withdrawn your recommendation. Staff has.
Correct.
Okay. And go ahead and satisfy yourself, Exhibit 20, that is that second memo.
Okay.
What it says.
Yeah,
Correct?
that's correct.
Yeah. And so here you are, you have the March 7 information that Ajit sent you, my client sent you in the email, right?
Correct.
You have the March 11 memo that I just showed you, Exhibit 20, where by March 11th you've already changed your recommendation because at least by then you clearly had not been given a satisfactory explanation on why it was okay to alter a federal document, right?
Right.
And then on about April 15, mid-April, about a week or so, a little more than a week ahead of the second reading, you're clearly still of a mind that I'm not going to recommend it, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to get the dates here. So, what was the date of the second reading? April or March?
April 24th.
Okay. And what was the memo in March?
I'll go the March 11.
March, was that the first reading or the
Second.
Okay.
That's the one where, scroll down, where it says where you've withdrawn your recommendation.
Right. But that March 11 memo was for the April meeting?
Pardon?
The March 11 memo was for the April meeting?
Well,
what was the date of the meeting?
It says
March 11, April 23rd. I'm trying to just in my own mind connect these dots here because that's a whole month away. Date March 11. I guess we wrote it March 11, but the council meeting was April 23rd, right?
That's what it reads.
Yeah, okay.
But I actually think that maybe Heather suggested maybe, I'm not promising you those are the right dates.
Yeah, okay. I'm just trying to, as we talk, I don't want to lose.
And I'm learning the timeline from it too.
Yeah, okay.
Okay?
Okay.
But in terms of, and I'll go soft on that date since I get your point.
Yeah.
But at least by March 7, you've gotten the information clearly that there's been this federal document altered that is forming a basis of the request, right?
Yeah, what was the date of Ajit's email?
March 7th.
Okay, that's correct.
And then on about about April 8th, approximately, is when we know the meeting was with Sony and Philip there, where there was not a satisfactory explanation given.
Okay.
You with me?
I am.
And I'm just trying to get the timeline with you.
Yes, sir.
And then on about April 15 or so is when you have the conversation with my client that's recorded.
Okay.
And then the second reading was on April 23rd. Okay.
Okay.
And then with the blank I'm filling in is this agenda memo for that second reading has a March 11 date, but I'm not promising you that's when it was written.
Okay.
That's what it says.
Right, I know. It's kind of.
But at least somewhere in there, it looks like for quite a period of time,
right,
you were very clear, I'm not recommending it.
I don't know about that whole duration, but as I tried to conduct my investigation with Philip and others, it became clearer that nobody would explain what happened to this document. And so as I got closer to that council agenda timeframe, it made sense to me to not recommend anything because I had no answers.
And I don't want to confuse it by that March 11 date that is on the memo, but clearly by the time you had the discussion that around April 8th with Philip, from then until April 23rd, or let's say 22nd, the day before the second reading, the meeting with the second reading,
right,
for that period of time, it sounds like you're probably pretty solidly for yourself of a mind that I've not gotten a satisfactory explanation and I'm not recommending it.
Right, and that's from doing an investigation in person with Philip. That's from, I think, several follow-up, either emails or conversations. And I think at that point, the Philip group had diverted any inquiry to their attorneys. So Miles may have been inquiring, but we were doing follow-up to say, are you guys going to be providing anything? And so there was no information provided, really little follow-up or reconnection. And so it was what we had was what we were going to have, which was nothing.
And of course, I'm a lawyer, but I'm going to say this anyway. It's not a good sign when you're requesting $2 million of public money and you can't come up with an explanation, and instead I give the city attorney my lawyer. Agreed?
I would agree. We weren't happy with that.
Yeah. And I'm going back to the recorded statement. I'm actually looking at the transcript. I had you read along with it.
Okay.
In that recorded statement, you do say, I let them know about the tampering, and those are the conversations we've already talked about, I take it?
Right, yeah, like the mayor and Pusley, for instance, yes.
And are there any others that you can tell me about that you haven't already told me about, or you think we've covered that?
When we talked about the tampering, there was an executive session where this item was presented. I don't know to what extent I can just talk about what happened in there, but generally this type of topic was discussed in that that was the purpose of the executive session.
I'm going to do it in a clever lawyer way. Okay? I'm going to say this. I understand that you talked to the council in executive session about this subject matter. Do you think you would have told them anything different than what you had told the mayor and Pusley?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I wouldn't have told them different.
In that conversation with my client is when you said, when you read the entire PowerPoint, you're referring to the altered slide, right?
Correct.
You said it's so, I'm quoting now, I think, if it's a correct transcription.
Yes.
It's so obvious that the reader or the writer wanted one to be led to believe that the FEMA was just recent, even the words like recently released and this and that. And part of it goes back to the narrative. Mike Culberson said, hey, this has to be tied to infrastructure. And so then they hatched the scheme that, okay, FEMA, floodplain, that's infrastructure. Does that sound like what you said?
Yes, it does.
And so it was very clear to you at this point in time that what had happened is not just that there was a federal document that had been forged, but also that there had really been kind of a plan to do it, or your word, a scheme, right?
Objection form.
What's that?
Objection form. That's what I have to object.
You still get to answer.
Okay. It appeared to me that the PowerPoint seemed to have seemed to portray a story, or a scheme that led a listener or a reader down a particular path, and that path being that the FEMA floodplain maps were recently changed, and therefore we had to redesign the building, and therefore we're looking for money to help in this construction costs that now have elevated due to the new maps.
Yeah. And that was the narrative they were promoting, the applicant.
That was a narrative that was in the PowerPoint. It was one that was expressed in the Type B meeting, and it was one that was expressed at the, I don't know for sure, but I assume it was expressed in the first read of the item.
Yes.
Yes.
And the reason I'm asking you that, it may be the same reason you pointed out in your discussion with my client, but I want to make sure. Mm-hmm. The reason I'm asking you about it is one has to always consider, hey, did just some weird Was it just accidentally left off, or does it appear that it's connected with this false narrative that they were telling, and there's a connection that you're observing, and that is the document information removed is in concert with the false narrative, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And that all of a sudden starts making it look like the removal of the information was for a purpose, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And then you go on to say that they developed a narrative. They, I think, is the applicant, right?
Yes.
That they developed a narrative to fit it, that they just found out because people would say, like, shit, they should have known about this a long time ago. Again, that's the same, you're alluding to the same thing, and that is this false narrative to pretend like it was recent changes in FEMA when in fact it was not.
Pretend that they were recent, you said? Yes.
Yeah. And then you said at least a second time, I'm going to try to keep count for you, quote, I'm not recommending it because I don't have the information I need. Does that sound like something you said that day?
That's it, yes.
And again, that goes back to you were requesting an explanation from Philip Ramirez or Devin Bachta or that group, and they came in and you still did not have a satisfactory explanation on why they had altered a federal document.
Correct.
Yeah. And then you said again, I can't recommend anything because I'm still waiting on information. That's the same thing, right?
Correct.
And then you go on, you said that, however, because the council wanted this on the agenda for them to consider, it's on. And so my question to you is, when you are saying in that conversation with Ajit that the council wanted it on the agenda, who are you referring to?
Yeah, I'm not for certain, but I know the mayor and I think Pusley were okay with the issue at hand of not having an explanation and wanted to proceed with having it on.
Both of them, you had informed them that there had been this altering or tampering or forging of a federal document, but they were still willing to support it, right?
Correct.
And that's true for the mayor and true for, I don't want to throw them together, so I'm going to ask individual questions. So what you're telling me then is that the mayor had definitely been made aware that the altered federal document used at the time of the first reading to support the request for $2 million, that even though it had been a federally altered document, she was still, had indicated she's still okay with moving forward and approving it.
Correct.
And same thing for Mike Pusley.
Correct.
And if I heard you right earlier, it sounds like same thing for Roland Barrera because of what you explained earlier.
Correct.
Okay. And did you have that same type of information, hey, I'm still willing to approve it, from any other council people?
I don't recall.
Later on you said, quote, I changed the recommendation, in fact, because that's what it had initially, like, I'm not approving this. Again, that's, I guess, a fourth time you're making it very clear, because you hadn't gotten an explanation, I'm not approving it.
Right, and I think some of that comes from the council members through maybe some of the more proponent members wanted it on the agenda. You can see a time lapse from the first to when the information began to surface about altered documents to the final second read. So there's a lot of time in there. I wasn't planning on putting it on until we figured this out.
Until when?
Until we figured it out, until the applicant gave me a good reason. Until my investigation was, it's a little bit of an overstatement of investigation, but my trying to figure out what happened with the applicant didn't result in anything, and so I wasn't planning on putting anything on until we could find out what happened with the document. Why does it look different? But some council members wanted it on, and so that's why you want to put it on the agenda. Okay. I'm not done my investigation. I can't come up with a recommendation, but we'll put it on.
As of the date that you had this recorded conversation with my client, as of that moment, it would still be your considered position that we should not put this on the agenda for further consideration.
Correct.
Because you had not gotten a satisfactory explanation about an altered federal document.
Correct.
And you recognize that's a serious thing, do you not?
I do.
Yeah. And And then you said again, quote, "They didn't give it," you're referring to information.
Right.
"So I can't make a recommendation." That's sort of the 5th time you've said, "I'm not going to recommend it," right?
Correct.
Then you said in the same conversation, "At least 3 council members want about the agenda." Okay, I'll put it on the agenda. So it sounds like by this point in time, around April 15th, that you knew that 3 wanted it and you're going to put it on, but without your recommendation.
Correct.
And who were those 3?
You know, as we looked at this earlier, I read that, and I'm not for certain who the 3 are, but I know the mayor, who is the mayor I most work with on what are we going to have on the agenda. So I know I'm pretty confident the mayor was one who expressed, let's put this on, let's move this forward.
And that's consistent with the mayor's desire to put it on, and your testimony that she still wanted to approve it is certainly consistent with what we saw when we played the video clip of Councilman Hunter talking, and that is she's clearly advocating for this ordinance.
That's what it appeared like, yes.
And then later you say, quote, "I just want to make sure that you knew what my position was." You're talking to my client.
Right.
Because I'm not recommending it, but I'm putting it on for them to consider. Again, same thing, right?
Correct.
So it looks like during the course of a few minutes, whatever that conversation is, I mean, you were repeatedly saying, because you had not found a satisfactory or been given a satisfactory explanation, you're very clear that you don't think it should go on the agenda, you're not putting it on the agenda, and that the councilmen, some of them want it, and so you're going to put it on the agenda. Am I right so far?
Correct, you are.
And that it's also going to have a statement in there with your agenda memorandum that says staff is not recommending it, y'all can consider it.
Correct.
As far as you can recall, only time ever where you, as staff, didn't want to put your stamp of approval.
That's correct.
Okay. Number 7. I'm going to mark a video clip. This is part of the deposition of Heather Holbert, and it's going to be exhibit number 13, and I think you'll be able to see it.
Before we do that,
Off the record real
yeah,
quick
I just want to go off the record.
Off the
Okay,
record at
okay.
11:28. On the record at 11:40.
I think I mentioned earlier that we had deposed Heather Holbert,
Yes.
and I'm going to play a portion of her deposition and ask you to comment or agree or disagree, just to get your comment on it.
Okay.
Go ahead and roll that. It's marked as exhibit 13 to the deposition.
Okay.
Ready?
Yep.
So you had false information because it's altered being part of what was supporting the award. I'm using the word supporting because it says supporting documents.
Yeah, supporting the agenda item, yes.
Yeah, which is approval for $2 million, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so there's a direct link, even according to your memo, of that PowerPoint presentation that has the false or misleading information in it and the award of the $2 million.
Yes.
And that's, again, that is a horrible thing to have in terms of a record for use of public money. Agreed?
Yes.
Okay. For supporting doc. Did you hear that okay?
I did, yes.
Do you agree with that testimony?
I agree with what she said, yes.
Yeah. And what she's doing is connecting, she's observing the relationship between the falsified forged document and how it was used directly to make the request and receive a favorable vote from the city council during the first reading, right?
Correct.
Okay. And you agree with her? That's I think the word we use there is that's very misleading of the applicant to do that, correct?
Correct.
And the word we used there I think was horrible or terrible. It's certainly something that should be disqualifying for that application, right?
I'm not sure about disqualifying, but it shouldn't have been brought forward.
It should not go forward.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, it shouldn't have been considered.
Yeah. I'm going to now also play another clip from her deposition, and this is exhibit number 14.
Ready? Yep.
I'm using now their words, and without me making them up or you making them up, and without them being your words, you don't have any reason to disagree with that characterization.
No.
That's in the conversation. It was clearly nobody was fighting about it in the
Exactly, yes.
in the discussion.
Yes.
Okay. And so, is it okay then if we refer to it, at least while we're talking about this recording, as being the concern here was the tampering with a United States federal portal?
Yes.
Okay. And so it's very clear, I think, that by this point in time, and again, we don't know the exact date, but by this point in time, we're between the first reading and the second reading.
Yes.
So we know we're between February 20 and April 23rd.
That is correct.
And during that time frame, it's very clear that Peter has full knowledge that this tampering with the United States federal porthole has occurred.
Yes.
And it's very clear he is the one that characterizes it or uses the word scheme.
Yes.
And he actually goes into an explanation about how, there was a need for an infrastructure component, so they made up this FEMA thing, and it was a scheme to basically get the money. That's all in there, right?
Yes.
And it was a scheme to get the money that was the scheme is the tampering with the United States federal portal, right?
Yes.
To get $2 million, and correct?
Yes.
And is that consistent with what your investigation found?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you hear that testimony? Yes.
Just object. Optional completeness, I think I have the answer from what she was talking about. That was the telephone call.
I was going to clear it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that.
Let me do it this way. Did you hear that testimony?
Yeah, I did, yes.
And I hope you could tell from context, it is talking about, it's her having listened to the recorded statement between you and my client, and her trying to understand what was being said in that discussion, right?
Correct.
And then at the end, her testifying that what you said in that conversation was consistent with what she found in the investigation.
Correct.
Okay. And I think that really the point of it was that she listened to the description that is in the recording about it being a scheme, that it was basically cooked up in order to have a basis for getting the $2 million, and that her investigation confirmed that, right?
Correct.
And you agree with all that? That's what happened here?
I do, except I'm not sure what her investigation was, Heather. Like I kind of told the council I am doing an investigation because this item rose to, the council level. It was high profile. Heather probably, I don't know I can't speak to what her investigation was per se, but I know she probably had to have similar conversations.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to say that she had the investigation and it wasn't yours, okay? Yeah. Fair enough. Yours would be the official one.
Right, yeah, okay.
But I think she also testified, and there were things that probably you, as you sit here right now, may or may not know about her conversations with Leo Lavari and different people. And so she had her own experience with learning what happened. Fair enough?
I think that's a better way. Yeah, that's a good way of saying it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And her, whether you call it investigation or her path to figuring out what had happened, what she's letting us know led us to the same conclusions that are articulated in your recording with my client.
Correct.
And you don't dispute any of that?
I don't dispute any of that. Just I wanted to point out that her investigation was may not have been the same as mine.
I understand.
In terms of when things took place, whom she spoke with, that type of thing.
Yeah, and I guess that even is really my point, is that two different approaches came to the same conclusion.
Okay.
right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to play exhibit number 15, and it's still part of her testimony.
So if I give you this definition that forge, like forging a document or writing, that forge means to alter, make, complete, execute, or authenticate any writing that happened, right, so far?
Yes.
So that it purports to be the act of another, like FEMA, that happened, correct?
Yes.
In this case?
Yes.
Who did not authorize it, and we talked about FEMA didn't authorize it, right? That happened in this case.
Yes.
Can we restart that?
Hold on, okay? Okay. Are we all
Let me stage it. You ready? We're going to play that clip for you now.
Yes.
Okay. We're going to restart the one that was there?
Yes.
Okay.
Start from the beginning?
Yes.
All right.
So if I give you this definition that forge, like forging a document or writing, that forge means to alter, make, complete, execute, or authenticate any writing that happened, right, so far?
Yes.
So that it purports to be the act of another, like FEMA, that happened, correct?
Yes.
In this case?
Yes.
Who did not authorize it, and we talked about FEMA didn't authorize it, right? That happened in this case.
Yes.
If that's a definition of forge, then the facts of this case meet that definition.
Yes. Yes.
I'm going to give you another definition of forge. That forge means to be a copy, to say, hey, this is a copy of an original, when in fact no such original, like we see in the slide, exists. Do you understand?
Say that again?
Yeah, if I purport to, hey, this is what it looks like, and no such original exists that looks like that,
Yes.
then that's a forgery according to what I just read, I think, but I want to say it to you again. You understand where I'm going?
Yes.
I'm giving you a second definition of forge. Forge means to be a copy of an original when no such original existed. Do you understand the definition?
Yes.
And we have that in this case.
Yes.
Okay. And those are two different definitions, and both of which you have agreed those facts are in this case to meet that definition of forge.
Yes.
Okay.
Did you hear and understand her testimony?
Yes, I did. I don't know if I completely understand it, but I heard, yeah. The two different definitions? Is that
Yes,
the-
sir.
Yeah.
And then I also showed you my screen, which had the actual statute language as I was reading along, so you got to see it too.
Yes.
And she obviously testified that what occurred in her view here met the definition, the penal code definition of forgery, right?
Correct.
Do you agree with her?
I agree with her.
Yeah. I'm going to go to, well, and let me back up for a minute. You told us earlier, and I understand you are not an attorney, right?
Correct.
And at the same time, of course, what we're looking at is a legal statute, right?
Correct.
But you've also told us earlier that one of the requirements for you as city manager is to make sure that your processes are complying with the law, right?
Correct.
And although you're not an attorney, you certainly have, I know, years of experience, all city government, and you're reading rules, regulations, laws, statutes, you have a legal department. you are somebody who has a lot of experience in looking at issues and looking at law, looking at statutes, and trying to make your processes comply with those legal requirements, right?
That's correct.
And so even though you're not a lawyer, you're somebody who is in a position of authority, certainly, that you have to be able to read statutes, whether it's a forgery statute or some other procurement statute or whatever, and look at the facts to make sure that you're not getting off track.
That's correct.
Yeah. And would this forgery statute be a precise reason that you would completely be of the mind, after learning of the forged document, to say very clearly, as you did on the tape, I think, or audio recording 5 different times, that I'm not going to recommend it?
That's the sole reason why, yes.
Okay. I think one of the comments from Sony even was, to my client, was even that you had told some members of council, hey, don't touch this, something along those lines. Did you do that?
I can't recall if I said that exactly, but I would, let me think how I can say this here. Given what we knew at the time, given the fact that it appeared a law, federal law had been broken, I wouldn't consider it yet. I wouldn't have put it on the agenda. I wouldn't have voted on it if I was a council member.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have wanted to.
Yeah.
Until it got cleared up, until we could get some reasonable explanation.
Which never happened.
Which never happened.
Yeah.
It never happened.
I'm going to play exhibit number 16. This is a clip or portion of the deposition of Mike Culbertson. It's number 12.
Ready?
Yep.
Though we can agree that forging or falsifying or altering a document in order to play into a narrative that it's a recent change when it's not really that recent is a misrepresentation, at least, about the need for the project.
I would agree.
And you shouldn't get $2 million. I'm trusting in your character here. You should not be asking for or receiving $2 million if you're misrepresenting material information like this on a project.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Do you agree with Mr. Culbertson's testimony?
I do agree with it, yes.
I'm going to show you exhibit number 17, and this is an article that was attached to a text message to you and Sony, and it had to do with a charges brought in a Westlaco scam. Do you remember that at all?
Vaguely, yes, sir.
Okay. I'm going to let you review the attachment, and it may refresh your memory.
Okay.
It's exhibit 17.
Okay. Yeah, McAllen, Texas, right? Move it up a little bit, yeah.
I don't think he read down as far as, at least I did.
No, that's good, yeah, okay, yeah, I think so, can you, yeah. Okay, yeah. I kind of read through it there, yep.
generally, and I think the email, or it's a text, off the top of my head, it was April 6, April 5, April 7, right in that time frame.
Okay.
It's information sent by my client to you that it sounds like you vaguely remember that happening.
I do remember it, yeah. I don't remember the content, but I do clearly remember it happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it was the content, though, of it is you just had an opportunity to review, right?
Correct.
And what happened here essentially in Weslaco was that they created some sort of fictitious, is the word they use here, consulting agreement that had to do with then delivering a $300,000 incentive for a project, right?
Correct.
And obviously the creation of a fictitious document is sort of like a forged document, right?
Correct.
And was it clear to you that, and it sounds like you already understood the seriousness of it, to be honest with you,
Correct.
but was this, my client, also letting you know, hey, this is serious?
I would agree with that.
Is that the way you kind of took it? Hey, he knows it's serious, and you're probably saying to yourself, I know it's serious too.
Correct.
Okay. And in this particular instance, it led to someone being arrested and charged with wire fraud, I believe. Do you want to say something first?
What particular incident?
Okay, fair enough. In this Weslaco article sent by my client to you in the time frame we discussed, the specifics of it also include that it led to the arrest and charge for conspiracy to commit wire fraud, right?
Correct.
Okay. That means sounds like somebody was indicted, right?
Yes, sir.
And that indictment extended to people on they call them city commissioners, not councilmen, right?
Correct.
And so a vote that was in relation, in this Weslaco matter, a vote that was allowing for an incentive payment for $300,000 led to, because of the fictitious nature of the underlying documents or fraud involved, led to criminal charges against the councilman or commissioner for the city at that location, right?
Correct.
Okay. That would be likened, or the equivalent of somebody on our city council putting themselves at risk for a criminal charge by voting to approve something supported by a fraudulent document, right?
Objection form.
Good.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
And that's why I'm sure a moment ago you said you wouldn't vote on it.
Correct.
Knowing what
if
you...
I could vote, yes.
Pardon?
If I could vote, yes, I wouldn't vote on it.
If you could have voted, you would have said either no to it or you would have just not voted on it.
Right, I probably would have voted no rather than abstaining.
And that's because you recognize that an affirmative vote in this case to allow the $2 million award creates risk or jeopardy to the councilmen and women who approved it.
Correct.
Including the mayor.
Correct.
And that jeopardy is a jeopardy that goes so far as to be a criminal offense they could be charged with.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's part of my job, is to, it sounds a little parental, but to protect the council, you know, and because we have the professional team with lawyers and others, and they may want to go a particular path, but we try to encourage them, if we think something's wrong, to not go that way.
Right. And you feel like that's part of your job as city council.
My job as city manager, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, that is part of the job.
We had a good breaking point. Yeah, no, wait till you get there, Doug, but then.
Yes, this is a good breaking point. He's asking, he needs to get some food on him. Can we go off record?
Yes, we're off the record at 12:01. We're on the record at 1:05.
We focus, obviously.
Don't your mic.
Thank you.
We have focused some on that period of time between the first reading and second reading, and I want to go back there.
Okay.
And specifically, after you had, and we've already talked about the meeting that you and Sony and also Philip Ramirez was there, right?
Right, yes, he was.
And I think after that, you've alluded to this, but I don't think we've gone over it specifically. You received a letter from Philip Ramirez and Devin Bhakta. It looks like dated April 11th, and I'm going to mark that as Exhibit 19 and let you review that.
Okay. Yeah, how do you move this up again? Let's see. There we go. Okay. Yeah, last week we met with city staff and 3 council members. Let's see, that recommendation was expressly exclusive of any funding. Okay. Yeah.
Do you remember that vaguely?
Vaguely, yeah.
Okay, and do you think that's a correct copy of the letter at least?
It looks to be, yes, it looks like it is.
Okay. And this is on April 11th, and it refers to a previous meeting saying last week we met with city staff and Type B board chair and 3 city council members. Did you read that?
I did read that part, yes.
And so that would have been, last week would be early April if this is a April 11 letter.
Mm-hmm.
And city staff, do you remember who was there?
Maybe Heather, because I wasn't there.
I was going to say, is this is a different meeting than you and Philip and Sony?
It is, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so here we have, and I'm not going to ask you to guess, but obviously some staff, I guess, meeting other than you.
I was not in that meeting.
Okay.
Right.
And the Type B board chair means it's a meeting with Lee Olivari?
Correct.
And did you do any meetings about this issue with Lee Olivari?
Except for the formal Type B board meeting, no.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And then it refers to 3 city council members. Do you know which 3?
I don't.
Yep.
Yeah.
And in this letter, it's signed by Philip and Devin Bhakta. Those are the 2 applicants for Elevate, right?
Correct.
In this letter, it says that the Type B incentive agreement, that it's the funds for that are not, I'm going to quote now, not tied to nor contain any requirements related to flood proofing improvements, close quote. You saw that a moment ago?
I did, yes.
Is it clear, and of course I think we understand the context, here we are that we have this forged FEMA document, and this is clearly an effort to go 180 degrees the opposite direction from that document.
It appears to be. And that, who was that document sent to?
This document was sent to you.
To me, okay, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
He says you're aware of the meeting, but maybe you were only a little aware of it, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And then it goes on to say, the letter does, it is our hope that this acknowledgement, the one about not being related to anything about floodproofing, it is our hope that this acknowledgement will allow for clarity in the city staff presentation and present any further confusion as to the true nature of what should be considered by the city council in a second reading.
Okay.
Oh, do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
And again, that's just them. That's Philip and Devin writing you a letter and clearly trying to completely change the direction of what's going to happen at the second reading.
Correct.
Instead of the second reading being the same as the first reading, the second reading is now going to be this new and different thing.
That's what it seems, yes.
And that's what happened, in fact, right?
Yes.
And we know that because, and let me go ahead and look, we referred to it kind of out of sequence a moment ago, but I believe I have it marked as Exhibit 20, and that is the second, or the agenda memorandum for the second reading. That's the one dated March 11, but we're not sure quite the timing of it.
Correct. Yeah.
And it in, I think, probably, do you see that?
I do, yeah. Let's see, with street level retail, public space, outdoor dining area.
Yeah, it says the money's for costs associated with the street level retail public space and outdoor dining area. Did I read that correctly?
Yes, you did.
And I think they say it once, and then again twice, and then again a third time, and then again one more time down here, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, so they're making extra sure to run 180 degrees, the opposite direction of reading number 1.
Correct.
Okay. And no secret, that's because everybody's now figured out there's a forged document, right?
Probably so, yeah.
But even though this effort was going on and you kind of have a lipstick on a pig now?
Correct.
You understand the reference?
Yes.
I mean, you can't undo what has already been tainted. Do we agree on that?
I agree, yeah.
Yeah.
Unless they clarified, you know. Unless the applicant clarified what might have happened.
Which they never did.
Correct.
Right. Unless there had been a good and valid explanation for the forgery, we're still stuck in a moment. Even though you're putting a pretty new face on it for the second reading,
right,
that still does not undermine, or that does not change the reality that the first reading was completely tainted.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what we're seeing here is a first reading then that was for one reason, and that was the banner for the money for the first reading at the time of the first reading was for money to meet what they called, falsely called, new floodplain, new FEMA requirements, right?
Right.
And now FEMA's not even being mentioned anymore in this second reading, right?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, and so the second reading obviously then is not the same, if we went over those definitions, not the same as the first reading.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you understand that means then the ordinance was not passed in accordance with the city charter?
Yeah, but if the city charter says the first and the second should be substantially the same, then, right, is that what you're referring to?
Which even worse for the city than that, okay? I'll go ahead and read it to you. So let me go ahead and mark it as Exhibit 25, the city charter. And it says, quote, "No ordinance shall be passed finally on the date it is introduced, but the same shall be considered and voted upon at 2 regular meetings." Understand what I just read you?
Yes.
And so what it's saying, shall be considered and voted upon, is the, quote, same shall be considered. Do you understand what I just said?
I do, yes.
If you want to read it, it's right there.
Shall be passed finally on the date it is introduced, but the same shall be considered and voted on. Yeah, upon 2 regular meetings, yeah.
Okay, and the definition we used earlier for the word same obviously says being one without addition, change, or discontinuance, identical. Obviously, the first reading version and the second reading version are not the same, right?
Correct.
And there were multiple definitions, but the answer is always the same. Mm-hmm. One of the definitions was being the one under discussion or already referred to. With that definition of same, obviously the first reading as it was worded and the second reading of the ordinance as it was worded are not the same. Agreed?
Well, at least the memo is not the same. I don't know about the motion or whatever, the ordinance.
Right, and that's where we got into a discussion with some of the witnesses. I think everybody agrees, though, reasons matter to why you vote.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
And this one, and actually, that's why I had you look at the way the videotape earlier of how the mayor read the first one. She actually mentions FEMA when she reads it at the council meeting. Okay. Remember that clip?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, and that wasn't done at the second time, right?
Yeah, well, I don't know, I didn't see it.
I have it if you want to see it. You probably know I have it if you want to see it, right?
No, I haven't seen it, but if you say so, I believe you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and so this.
Look at it.
The second one, by the time, I mean, what's being voted on at the second reading is a completely different animal ordinance than what was really being done at the first meeting and the reasons behind it. Fair enough?
At least the reasons behind it, because similarities include the amount and who it's being paid to.
Pardon?
Similarities do include the amount and who it was paid to, but some of the other particulars are different.
Right. It's the same $2 million, right?
Right.
It's the same recipient, right?
Correct. Yeah.
But it's a completely different thing to say I'm going to give you $2 million for FEMA requirements and to say I'm going to give you $2 million for your dining.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so if the definition of same is, quote, resembling in every relevant respect, we can agree it was not the same because it was not resembling in every relevant respect.
Correct.
And if the definition is conforming in every respect, you know I'm quoting from the definitions. If the definition of same is conforming in every respect, then we can say that the first reading ordinance and the second reading of the ordinance were not conforming in every respect, correct?
Correct.
And therefore not the same, right?
Correct, yeah.
And if I'm going through every definition, if we consider the definition of same to be being the one under discussion or already referred to, we can agree that the way it was being done at the first reading is not the same as it was being under discussion and referred to in the second meeting, right?
Correct, yeah.
And therefore not the same.
Right.
Okay. And if the definition of same also can include corresponding so closely as to be indistinguishable, we know the first one and the reasons set forth were clearly distinguishable from the second reading, right?
Correct, yeah.
And therefore the first reading and the second reading were not the same.
Correct.
Okay. And so given those definitions of same, is it clear that the first reading and second reading do not qualify as the same that was to be considered and voted upon?
Right, I would agree with that.
And therefore did not comply with the two reading rule in the city charter?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to show you Exhibit 26, is 8.1.1. And it's you, I'll tell you, I think saying a lot of what you said in your discussion with Ajit in terms of your position.
Okay.
But I want you to look at it or have that benefit.
That's not 1.1.
8.1.1.
That's not what it is. No, that's not what it is.
Oh, okay. Do you have that?
Oh, you know what? Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
I think I'm right.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Okay. See?
I'm human.
Okay.
Which one is this?
26, Exhibit 26.
The second reading.
You ready?
Yeah, this is at the second
I
reading.
see it at the bottom now.
What happened? Oh, okay.
Pulling a puzzle. Mr. Zanoni, are y'all not recommending that we approve this today?
We're recommending
postponing it.
A motion that Councilman Hernandez is a decent one. We don't have all the information to make a recommendation. We're still working with the applicant on getting their response. We asked them, they sent us back a letter. We'll be sending them a letter. So if we had to, that's why we're saying let's discuss the merits of it here at the city council meeting.
You've had 4 weeks to investigate this.
Right. No, we're still working with them.
Did you see that's you on the video, right?
Yes, it is.
And I think it's fair to say, but I want to make sure you understand this is at the second reading on April 23rd.
Correct, yeah.
And it sounds a lot like you're saying the same thing you were saying in the recorded conversation between you and my client.
Correct.
And that is, you're not recommending it because you don't have the information you need to satisfy yourself about why this document got altered, basically.
Correct.
Okay. So going into the meeting, starting the meeting, it was still clearly your position that this ordinance should not be passed at this time.
Correct.
And staff was still clearly not recommending it as of the start of the meeting at the second reading.
Correct.
And even as of well into the meeting, you're still telling, and I think you were kind of leaning in favor of or supporting the idea that Councilman Gil Hernandez had suggested that let's table this and give you a chance to give them every opportunity to come forward with a explanation that would justify forging the document.
Correct. Or having the applicant there at the meeting discuss it.
Right, and they could have stood up and if they had a valid reason, maybe they're, they at least had an opportunity to give a reason.
Correct.
And they did not, again, at the meeting, they again did not address it.
Correct.
Yeah. And by the meeting, we're talking about on April 23rd.
Correct.
And you know, though, as you sit here, that at this April 23 meeting, there was a favorable vote by a majority of the council to pass whatever this newly worded ordinance was, right?
I did, but not for certain. You know, it's from, I did, but not, I didn't, there wasn't any pre-vote cast, so.
There wasn't any what?
There wasn't any council gathering that would indicate that. You know, from speaking with individual council members and maybe using some intuition from prior actions of certain council members, it appeared that it would be a favorable vote for the measure.
You thought that going in?
Yes.
Even though you weren't recommended, you had already, and I know you actually make a reference in your conversation with my client.
Right.
You'd already said you thought it was going to be a 7-2 vote.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And why did you think that?
From certain council members coming to visit with me, and this was what I'm not supposed to guess here, but from other inferences or past practices of certain council members, other conversations maybe.
Do you remember what the vote actually ended up being?
Somebody was saying this morning 7-2.
Well, I know somebody had said that going in, but as a matter of fact...
No, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I do not know for certain.
Do you remember that there was, I guess, discussion about, certainly we just saw some with, I guess, Gil Hernandez and then you responding to him, we just played that video, right?
Correct, yes.
So there was certainly discussion about that there were still unanswered questions about the ordinance so that you could not recommend it.
Correct.
And then, do you remember, let me go ahead and just do it this way. I'm going to play another clip for you, and it's Exhibit 21. We'll label it as that, and it's Toma 1 on here. And on this clip, I want you to make sure you also watch the mayor, not get distracted by some of the arguing going on.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah, I don't understand Councilman Hernandez's comment, because in the contract that Type B Corporation signed, that I have a copy of here, it specifically spells out.
Councilman Pusley.
Yeah, I don't understand Councilman Hernandez's comment, because in the contract that Type B Corporation signed, that I have a copy of here, it specifically spells out.
Is that it?
The first one.
Okay. Do you see in that video, first of all, it's clearly still the discussion about this ordinance, right?
Correct, yes.
And it looks like you know that going in, you knew that Councilman Pusley was going to be for it, even knowing there's a forged document, right?
Yes.
And you knew that the mayor was going to be for it, even knowing there was a forged document, right?
Correct.
But during his talking, Councilman Pusley talking, you saw that the mayor got up and went and talked to Everett Roy, correct?
I did see that, correct, yes.
And obviously it is during the period of time that the discussion is about whether or not to make a motion or whether or not to pass the ordinance. I mean, we're in the context of the ordinance debate, right?
Correct.
And do you know the content of what she is saying to Councilman Roy?
No, I don't.
You do recognize, though, that if she is communicating with him about the ordinance, then it clearly is a private conversation, right?
Yes.
It is not a conversation that was in the public as it should be during that meeting. Agreed?
Agreed.
And you understand that there's what they call Texas Open Meetings Act, right?
Right.
And the whole idea of Texas Open Meetings Act at its very core is that we debate public issues publicly, right?
Correct.
And so sometimes I call that meeting act TOMA, Texas Open Meeting Act. Do you say that?
We don't use TOMA, but we use the Open Meetings Act.
Okay, I'll say it that way.
We're real familiar with the Open Meetings Act.
Okay. If she's talking to him in private rather than in public during the meeting, that would be a violation of the Open Meetings Act, right? If it's about this issue.
Right.
Objection form.
Yes, with that last clause, if it's about this issue. Yes,
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, and let's roll Exhibit 22, TOMA 2 on your list.
Ready?
Yes.
Was about the fact that they gave the to me, and Miss Campos, I'm gonna tell you, I don't interrupt you when you're talking, and if you continue to do that to me, then I'm gonna make it a point to interrupt you every time you talk. Yeah, you are. Yes, you are. Yeah, you are. So next time you talk, I'm gonna make sure I do.
I forgot about that part.
And kind of two different things happening there. One of them is obviously there's a little bit of discord between Councilman Pusley and Councilman Campos, right?
Correct, yeah.
And the other thing, I kind of maybe should have asked you again to make sure you watched the mayor, but did you see the mayor during that clip?
I was focused on Pusley, so I did not, yeah.
I'm going to roll it again.
Yeah, roll it again, I'll watch the mayor.
I should have told you that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Was about the fact that they gave the to me, and Miss Campos, I'm gonna tell you, I don't interrupt you when you're talking, and if you continue to do that to me, then I'm gonna make it a point to interrupt you every time you talk. Yeah, you are. Yes, you are. Yeah, you are. So next time you talk, I'm gonna make sure I do.
That time, did you get a chance to watch the mayor during that clip?
Yes, I did.
And do you see again that she's having a private conversation? This time it appears with Councilman Barrera and also with Everett Roy.
Correct.
Objection form.
And do you know, and that is all occurring during the second meeting or during the meeting on the second reading?
Correct, yes.
And do you know what she was saying to those two other councilmen?
I do not.
Do you know, but you do know that it was occurring during the time that the ordinance was being debated publicly, right?
Yes.
And you do know all debate should be public, right?
Yes.
And so if she was having a confidential discussion, and we just heard you don't know and we don't know right now, if she's having a confidential discussion that relates to the ordinance, that would be a violation of Open Meetings Act again, right?
Correct.
Okay. During that meeting where the reading occurred on the repackaged version,
Yes, sir.
during that meeting, did you going in have any intention in any way, shape, or form of ever giving this proposed ordinance a nod, positive approval, or a yes in any form?
No, only if the applicant could answer questions that would satisfy the unanswered questions from weeks prior.
Which did not occur.
Correct.
So therefore, it would have been your intention throughout the meeting, since that didn't happen, we now know.
Yes.
It would have been your intention to always be clear on the record that you were not recommending it.
Correct.
Okay. Is it 8 point? I'm going to show you another clip with you.
Yeah.
And this is exhibit 23, which is your, I think it's 8.2. 8.2. Yes.
It's not plugged in.
It will be.
Okay.
Yes,
Got it. There you go.
Ready?
Yes.
Ready?
Yes.
Okay.
On this.
Yeah, Leah, Mayor, if you, this in part follows up from Ms. Olivari, but also to Councilman Hunter. So on the merits of the $2 million, the city staff supports what the Type B recommended it for, which was just for what Leah just said, for ground floor activation. We're going to roll the tape here in a moment that shows Leah at the Type B board with her, so people can hear it firsthand. So that, without any doubt, we support that. The issue for staff is that there's still some uncertainty in some of the information, and we're working to get that.
Was that you speaking on that clip?
Did I hear me speaking?
Yes.
Yes, I did.
And you said that you recommend it on the merits of the $2 million support for Type B, right?
Right.
And then you also go on to say that you still, it sounds like you're still saying, but we still haven't gotten the information to explain whatever, well, to explain the forged document.
Correct.
And it sounds like maybe you are saying, but I'm trying to figure this out, are you saying that you support the new version of the ordinance, but you still are not supporting the old version of the ordinance?
Correct. That's it, yeah.
Okay, recognizing that they're not the same thing.
Clearly, right.
Okay.
They're not the same thing.
And so, did you in any way, shape, or form consider that just the words coming out of your mouth, I do recommend, that the council would rely on those words and vote yes for it?
For it, the it would be the version 1, the first reading ordinance. I wouldn't recommend it. But if the council's saying, now we're going to do something different, we want this money to be for ground floor activation and whatever else that Leah had said, that one I would say yes, they could support that if that's what it was.
Yeah. Because I think if I'm understanding the whole of what you were saying there, you were probably attempting, I'm going to say it that way because I'm not sure that some people would always agree with my characterization or yours on this, okay?
Okay.
But I think when I'm listening to it, it sounds like you're saying we would be okay with version 2 so long as it's very clear we're not okay with version 1 that was read at the first meeting.
That's a good summary, yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And that is to you, they're night and day in terms of whether or not you could recommend.
Correct.
Very different for the same reason we did a moment ago. Definitely the reading at version 1 in February, that version, in your mind, definitely not the same as what you were recommending when you're talking about version 2 that was on the April meeting.
Correct.
Okay. Which means, without a doubt, that the ordinance has only been approved one time, right?
Right.
In other words, there was a version that was approved in February of 2024. That was the version that had the taint on it of a forged document, right?
Correct, yeah.
And then you guys did your investigation, and that one should never have been on an agenda again in your mind.
Right.
And that one was different than, not the same as the version that was really on the agenda in April of 2024, right?
Correct, yeah.
And you could only be supporting and were only willing to say the words I recommend with regard to this very different, not the same version that was on the agenda in April of 2024.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if anybody conflates those two in your mind, I'm sure, and thinks that you were recommending a version that was tainted by a altered federal document, I'm sure you're going to say, no, 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 I never did that.
Correct.
Okay.
We just kind of heard it too, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't ever interpret what you're telling us. Don't ever interpret what we just played for you on the video as you saying it's okay to pass something that was tainted with the problems version 1 had.
Exactly. That's why I said in the meeting we're still doing the investigation.
Right. Okay.
It was not. We had not reached a satisfactory conclusion.
And because of the seriousness of a criminal offense, when you look at the penal code and the discussion we've had in your deposition, because of the seriousness of it, that is, I'm sure, why you wanted to make certain that you were not recommending version, that everybody was clear the tainted version is not on the agenda and is not going to be recommended, and it's not even in front of the council as far as you were concerned.
Absolutely right. Correct.
Okay. And the second version, the repackaged version that talks about dining rooms or dining areas, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Yeah, outdoor.
That version of this different ordinance has never received a second reading.
It does. No, it has not.
Is that correct?
Yeah, I was going to say it doesn't appear to have, but I think it's no. It has not is the answer.
We had a double negative in there.
Yeah, it was only one reading on it.
Right.
It was only heard once at this council meeting.
Okay, so it is not passed.
Well, you'd have to check with our attorneys.
Check with who?
Our attorneys. You know,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, as far as you're concerned, it hadn't passed.
Correct. Yeah.
Right.
It did get. It was a pass by somebody's agreement. Somebody's. Because the checks, the agreement has been.
We can't have a past statute that's got half felony problems and half is okay, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're agreeing that didn't happen.
Well, I'm agreeing that an item was passed to effectuate or to approve a contract that put the city under a contractual obligation to pay the hoteliers $2 million.
Well, but there's only an obligation if the same ordinance has had 2 readings and passed at both of those 2 readings, right?
Correct, yeah.
And you've already agreed multiple times that the same one did not get 2 readings here, right?
Correct.
And so whatever bookkeeping has or hadn't happened because the last thing you want to do is have there be confusion about it and people say Peter recommended it, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay, and so as far as Peter Zanoni is concerned, the version that is acceptable, which is not the same as the version that was forged, the version that is acceptable has only received 1 reading.
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever get an explanation from the mayor as to why she was continuing to support an ordinance that had the taint of a felony, what looks like a felony forgery?
No, I did not.
You are certainly familiar with who Devin Bacta is and who Philip Ramirez is, right?
Yes.
And one of the biggest signature items before all of this period of time we've been talking about in your deposition, one of the most significant signature items for the mayor had been Proposition A, right?
Yes.
And Proposition A, why don't you go ahead and tell us or refresh us on what that was generally?
Yeah, generally it was a repurposing of a sales tax venue to improve the convention center complex, to include potential funding for a privately built hotel on the complex site. That was the initial intent, and then I think the council added additional things to the ultimate proposition, airport incentives and regional park improvements, I believe, as well.
And you referenced that this funding for, if Proposition A had passed, this project was going to include a privately built hotel, right?
Correct.
And there was certainly at the time of Proposition A a tremendous amount of discussion that Devin Bokta would get that contract, right?
No.
You don't remember that being talked about at all?
I don't, yeah. There was no discussion of any hotelier.
Do you remember that generally speaking, most of the hoteliers in town were against Proposition A?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And do you remember that there was one hotelier who was for it, and that was Devin Bokta?
I don't know if it's one, but I know he was for it, as Philip was.
Right.
Yeah.
Philip and Bokta, Devin Bokta, both supported Proposition A, as did the mayor.
Correct.
Yeah. And on that signature attempt at passing signature for the mayor, she made a big deal out of it being her baby, right?
Not necessarily, but she supported, yeah, she made a big deal out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and do you remember that Devin Bokta certainly does have some hotels in town, right?
He does.
And we know that this Homewood Suites project is definitely about a hotel, right?
Correct.
And do you remember that Bokta was actually putting up signs at his hotel properties supporting Proposition A?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, and do you know of any other hotelier in town that was doing that?
I don't know for certain.
Okay.
Yeah.
And obviously Proposition A was a defeat. It was defeated, right?
Correct, yeah.
Do you also know the extent to which Devin Bokta is a political supporter of the mayor's?
Objection.
Yeah, I don't know if he is or to the extent.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know that.
So whether he gives $1 or thousands of dollars, you don't know?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, it sounds like, though, the mayor never offered any argument to you as to why she was, because, let me back up. We see the mayor at the first reading repeatedly telling Councilman Hunter, it's changed, it's changed, it's changed. She's clearly advocating during the meeting for passage of this ordinance, right?
Right.
And you made it clear that she was communicating with you between the February meeting and the April meeting, that she was communicating with you about wanting to get it back on the agenda.
Correct.
And that the mayor was also communicating with you in that same time window and letting you know that even though it's a federally altered document, she's supporting it.
Correct.
And then we see that the mayor in the video is getting up during the debate, and one clip showing her getting out of her chair and going over and talking to Councilman Roy, right?
Correct, yeah.
And he's the one who ended up making the motion. Do you remember that?
I don't remember that.
Okay, but then at another clip we showed you, it shows again the mayor during the debate having a private conversation with Roland Barrera and also with Everett Roy again, right?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, I mean, without an explanation on why it is that she was supporting a ordinance that had the taint of forgery on it, did you ever come to any opinion about why she would be doing that, why the mayor would be doing that?
No, I did not. I did not.
Okay.
Do you have the document yet?
Hold on 1 second.
Don't we have one that it's political from Corpus?
Yes. think this is, I'm not sure I labeled it, but it's, let me put it as Exhibit 26. It's a video clip of Culbertson. Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. Okay. Okay. Ready? Okay.
When you got in front of City Council, you did recommend the project, didn't you?
Yes, I did. That was a question.
And why? Why would you do that if it's not supported by your analysis?
Because at the time when they were saying that it would help out downtown, then, you know, I'm fine with that. I can understand that.
Okay, so in other words, would it be fair to say that falls again then over on the politics side?
Yes.
Okay, so the politics of it were for you to get behind it?
Yes. Yes, it was. No, I understand. I believe.
You see the clip from Mr. Culbertson?
Yes, I do.
And remember, the EDC views it as a financial dollar and cents analysis, and they couldn't recommend it. We talked about that very early on in your deposition.
We did, yes.
And that by the time you got to the second reading, he stood up and supported it, and basically in this clip, in his sworn testimony, he says it's because of the politics of it, right?
That's what he said, yes.
And certainly, I guess everybody probably has their different view of where politics should or should not extend. But I am betting you and I will agree that even if you want to try to give $2 million to a political donor, that you shouldn't do it when it involves in part a forged federal document like we see here.
Objection.
Right?
Right, with just the one exception that I don't know if he's a political donor.
Sir?
I don't know if Devin is a political donor, but I would agree with everything he said in that statement.
Yeah. So if Devin is a political donor, then that would bring politics into it, right?
Yeah, yes.
And if he is a political donor, and therefore we have politics in it, you would still say that, hey, we can't go that far because you guys, somebody over in your camp, forged this federal document.
Right, in the applicant's camp, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Politics should have its limits.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But politics certainly, though, we have testimony, but it just common sense, you know, politics does enter into city council decisions, true?
Objection form.
And certainly to you, where we see the mayor at the first meeting saying it's changed, and trying to advocate for the passage of the ordinance, and then at the second meeting we see her get up and go talk to Everett Roy, and then at the second meeting we see her get up, or not get up, but stay in her seat and talk to Everett Roy and to Roland Barrera. We see all those things and we don't know what she said, right?
Right.
But we do know that she's never offered a reason other than politics to justify wanting to have this ordinance passed to you.
Objection form.
Correct?
She never gave me a reason. We're seeing Culberson's politics answer.
She never what?
She never gave me a reason, but to the statement you just said where Culberson says politics was a reason, that's what I just saw from Culberson.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, sir.
She didn't tell me that, but you know.
Right, I understand.
Yeah.
But she's never offered any alternative reason other than politics.
Objection.
Agreed?
She has never offered me any reason.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are the documents ready? Doug, do you want to take a break?
Let's take our break, look at the documents, and then we're about to finish up.
We're off the record at 1:50.
Our objections were, he asked for days.
We're on the record
He could be
at
getting
2:13.
your phone calls to your wife.
Yeah.
That ain't.
Go ahead, Doug.
I'm going to play another video clip. This is from the deposition of Mike Culbertson. It's Exhibit 27.
We're on the record, Mount.
You have to wait.
Oops. You ready?
Yeah, we're watching.
Can you take it full screen?
Yeah.
We're ready. I don't see anything.
Go ahead.
Phenomenon you described earlier where if one new restaurant opens, one closes. Because this is not a destination hotel, it runs the risk of doing that here in Corpus, right?
That's correct.
And that's another reason that there should not be public money spent on it.
It does not help the economics. It does not.
Right. Which, the whole reason you're supposed to be given public money is to help the economics.
That's correct.
Do you understand that's testimony of Mr. Culbertson?
I'm not sure if I got the first part. What was yeah?
Yeah, I think the gist of it was that.
Can we replay it, Doug?
You want me to replay it?
Yeah,
Sure.
well, he
Just
can
that
hear.
first
Yeah.
part, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna cue it up again just so that we
Okay.
don't have everybody talking and being noisy when we're trying to play these things. Okay, guys?
Okay.
And now we know to edit. I'm going to play the deposition of Mike Culbertson. Are you ready?
Yes.
This is Exhibit 27.
Okay.
The phenomenon you described earlier where if one new restaurant opens, one closes, because this is not a destination hotel, it runs the risk of doing that here in Corpus, right?
That's correct.
And that's another reason that there should not be public money spent on it.
It does not help the economics. It does not.
Right. Which, the whole reason you're supposed to be given public money is to help the economics.
That's correct.
Do you understand that clip?
Now, yes, sir. Now I do. Yeah.
And the word we used even some during the deposition was sometimes one project will cannibalize another. Do you know what that means?
Yes, I do.
In other words, Homewood Suites is not like a Disney hotel.
Right.
And so it's not a destination hotel, doesn't bring more people to the city.
Right.
And therefore, because of that, it would not be qualified to receive incentive money given the RCCREDC guidelines, right?
Right. If it's based on economics, like Culbertson was saying.
Another indication that what we have here ultimately was a decision based on politics.
Objection form.
Right?
I can't speak to that.
Okay. Another point associated with that clip being, though, that if the project is one of the type that he identifies cannibalizing,
Right.
and therefore does not support a incentive grant and also does not have infrastructure, those are two reasons that it should never have even gotten out of CCREDC, right?
Correct.
Yeah. I'm going to jump time frames on you, because I'm kind of cleaning up a few gaps I had.
Okay.
I want to direct your timing, I want to direct your thinking to the time frame just before the second reading or the first reading of the repackaged item, right?
Yes. Yeah.
In that time frame, and I think in your recorded discussion with G. David, you were saying some councilmen wanted it on the agenda?
Correct.
You had also been very clear you did not and were not recommending it.
That's correct.
And so did you put it on the agenda or let me back up. And we know that there's one way to get something on an agenda, and that's to have 3 councilmen sign a piece of paper.
Right.
That didn't happen here.
That did not happen.
So the other two possibilities are either you put it on the agenda or the mayor put it on the agenda. Am I right so far?
You are.
Did you put it on the agenda?
Technically, I did, but at the direction of the mayor and maybe other council members.
But other council members can't direct you unless they have three that sign something.
Right.
So the technical reason, or the true reason, if you're following protocol here, I think that it got on the agenda for the April 2024 agenda
Right.
is, if I'm understanding you, is you did it, but it was at the direction of the mayor.
It was at the request of the mayor or direction. However, a single council member can ask me to consider putting something on, and I can from time to time, and I have from time to time. But this one's, I believe the mayor did recommend or ask that I put it on.
And she has the power to do that.
She does.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Whereas no other single councilman has that power, except a single councilman can request it of you to exercise your power.
Correct.
Yep. I'm going to show you a document that I've marked as subpoena ducis tecum, exhibit number 28. It's a subpoena ducis tecum. Do you understand what that is generally?
No.
Whenever we do a deposition, we issue a notice of deposition that has the power of subpoena, and we can also attach to it a request for documents.
Okay.
That's what we call the ducis tecum, okay?
Okay.
And so I'm going to show it to you, and it's exhibit 28, and ask you if you've seen this document at all.
Okay.
And I'm going to guess if you hadn't, and that's not the end of the world.
I don't recall seeing that document.
Okay.
Yeah.
It requests that you produce, for example, certain cell phone billing records. Have you brought those with you here today?
No, I have not.
It requests that you by the way, it requests billing records for 210-355-5563. That's your cell phone, I believe?
That's correct, yes.
Do you have any other cell phones you use?
No, I do not.
Okay. Is that your, it's a San Antonio number, so I'm guessing it came with you from San Antonio?
It did, yes. It's my personal cell phone.
That's what I was wondering.
Use it for business as well.
That's what you're one of those that keeps one phone?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
The subpoena ducis tecum also requests text messages from the cell phone. Did you bring any of those with you here today?
I did not.
Doug, excuse me, I understand we produced some of those. That we produced some of those.
There are some produced?
Yes.
Okay.
I was asked prior to produce some, so I've satisfied that. I was unaware of this other request.
Okay. Have you previously given your cell phone to someone to produce those or searched for them?
I did myself. Yeah, for the date range. There were 2 date ranges given.
Okay.
I forget what they are, but there was 2 blocks of time.
So you did provide, in response to your attorney's request, some text messages?
Yes, between me and Ajit David.
Okay. And if your lawyer wants to help on this one too, it's fine. There's also a request for emails relating to the manner in which the ordinance was passed, and have those been produced?
Yes.
Thank you.
There should be, Doug, objections to blank everything on a particular date, because some of that goes beyond the scope of what this is. I don't think you're entitled to text messages from Peter to his wife or phone calls from Peter to his wife or his kids. So we filed objections to those.
You're not only a beautiful man, but a handsome man.
Doug, you're just looking in a mirror.
And we'll get to all those issues later.
Later,
but Thank
yeah.
you for sharing.
No, I wanted to make sure you understood what
got it.
isn't there.
And the subpoena duces take them also as for calendar entries. Have those been produced?
There were no responsive documents
Okay.
to that one.
And then the last item on here asks for Peter Zanoni's notebook. So I'm going to ask him a few questions. You are famous, sir, for your day timer.
Yes, I have many of them though.
Yes.
All the times, yes.
You fill them up one after the other, I believe.
Pretty much, yes, sir.
You take copious notes of many things, I think.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And have you, and I know you keep them, right?
My assistant keeps them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe she keeps them.
So they're in your office here in City Hall?
They're somewhere in the office area, yes. I think she puts them in a closet next to where I office, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And have you had an opportunity yet to go through those to see if you had any notes of your conversations or other things relating to this ordinance?
I have not. Nobody asked me to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll get that worked out.
Okay.
That's all the questions I have.
All right, we'll reserve ours.
Okay.
We're off the record at
Yeah.
2:20. Nope.
No, just real quickly.
Needs to get some orders.
Okay, but we're still on the record. I need to say something. Technically, we're recessing just because I think those documents are owed to me, so we will recess and reserve, but I hope that we get that worked out where maybe
think
we
we
won't
can-
be back.
Yeah, okay, good.
Doug, I think that, well, we're off the record.
And now we can go off the record.
He needs to say something.
Yeah, before we get off the records, are there going to be any copy orders for the transcript?
We want it?
Okay.
We want it.
Wanted, and then does the witness want to read and sign?
Do I want what? A
To
copy
read
of?
and sign
To read
He
and
wants you
sign.
to. He wants you to.
Do you want to read and sign the deposition? Because sometimes, no disrespect at all, but sometimes they could miss one word or something that would change it. So it'd be best if you read it to make sure what's in the written transcript is what you said.
Okay, we'll try, but that's hours of reading, right?
Yeah, no, I understand.
Yeah, okay.
If you'll give us extra time,
Yeah.
Doug,
The
under
right
the
thing to do, I
circumstances.
think, is reserve your right to read and
Okay.
sign, and
Yeah.
then he'll help review it, and you guys will
Okay.
get it figured out.
Okay,
Mark,
yes, sir.
does the city sync their video with the transcript, or just want a copy of the video?
Just a copy of the video, right?
Okay. Doug, do you sync your video with the
No, I
transcript?
usually
Okay.
don't.
We're
Thank
off
you.
the record at 2:25.